Night Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Alan Robson with you. The Night Owls, of course. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thank you very much for joining us. What have we got for you tonight? Well, a bit of all kinds. We're going to start off, though, with a bit of a challenge just for you. And that challenge is your personal style. Now, as you can probably tell every time that I come on, fashion is not something that I'm comfortable with at all. I dress the way that I want to dress. That's it. Fiona's just said, for filthies, I wore red velvet trousers and some big white blouse thing. How it took 3 hours, including makeup, I've got no idea. I know just what you mean. But we would like to be the judge of your style. So we would love you to send in pictures of your tattoos, your piercings, your hairstyles. If you've got any full-bodied fashion kind of look that you want to put forward. On Robson's World, I've got a timeline from me very, very first starting in there's even some baby pics right the way up to the present day that you can go back down the timeline and you will see remarkably scary and embarrassing fashions. No question about it. But I'm more interested in yours tonight. So show me your piercing or tell me about it. Tell me about your tattoo, earliest one you got, most recent one you got, all of that kind of stuff. We would love to find out what kind of radical, different, weird, funky, cool, what exactly are you? Like, what was that you had in your hair?
It looked like a black slug.
Oh, that's not nice.
And I thought, do I say anything? No, because you'll freak. And
just leave a slug on her head, why don't you?
So, I thought, what is it? So I'm combing it through and it was only, we've got a black Labrador.
Right.
And he chews his toenails. Oh. And it was what it is.
Oh, that's worse than a slug. Oh, a dog's toenail in your hair. Oh, man. Oh, it gets worse. What about the whole tattoo kind of thing? And does it have to be for somebody who's like 17 with a hunk of attitude? You're 70 and you got a tattoo? What's it a tattoo of?
It's an angel with my wife's name underneath.
Oh, that's a sweet.
It's got a halo above it, you know.
Right.
I just got it done yesterday. I'm wrapped up in cling film at the moment.
So is this your first tattoo, though?
First ever. I was crapping myself at first. But, he was great. It's Lara, call him John. Right. I think as you get older, your skin must be getting tougher. Like, I must be like a rhinoceros. He kept asking me, like, he said, do you want to pack in now and have a rest? I said, no. There you go. Must be like leather by the time you get to 76. And there's some places where tattoos should never go anywhere near.
I used to do the martial arts quite a lot of years ago.
Right.
We just had a training session and we're going to the changing rooms and everything, and the one lad was admiring my tattoos because I've got about 8 or 9 on my back, my arms, my legs, everything. Okay. And he says, have a look at this. And I've never seen anything like it, Alan. He had, believe it or not, he had a spider tattooed on the end of his leg.
Really?
On the end of his manhood. Mm-hmm.
No, on the actual head, the helmet bit?
Yeah, on the helmet bit, yeah. He had a tattoo, the spider tattooed on the end of it. I thought, how could you?
You talk about excruciating pain.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like. And every now and then you'll get somebody that'll say, I've got my girlfriend's name inside me lip. And you go, oh, yeah, but that's taking things just a tad too far. Brian, who is, of course, Biffa Bacon, says, my first ever tattoo was at Aussie's on New Bridge Street, Yonks back. There you go. So where are the tattoo shops that you've got? Who did yours? Is that person still there? There's some tremendous tattoo shops up and down there. Our patch especially. So tell us where you went, what you got. Are you glad you've got it? Do you regret it? All those kind of things. Because there are some people it's going to be pretty much impossible for you to beat, like this guy.
What it is, right? It's a tribal eagle.
Right.
And what I said, I don't like the iron. Can you cover it up for me? Colour the iron. So it's just like one big tribal piece. And now I've got like the sleeve of tribal that goes from my right arm to my wrist, all the way up to my neck, onto my back and my chest.
Wow, and 96 in total.
Yeah, I've got Big Bob Marley on my back.
Right, oh, hey,
cool. Two parrots sat beside him. I've got a tiger and all on my back. But the thing is, it's got the ex's name underneath.
Oh, there you
get a collar on it.
There you go. You've got to put a collar on that tiger if you've got your ex's name on the back. Now, fashion is another thing that I want us to have a look into. Let's do fashion as well. Well, like turtlenecks. She knits shell suits for a tortoise.
Yeah, and one of them's like a shark and it's got like a proper like spike on its back. He went missing a couple of weeks ago for a couple of days, and in the paper there was a picture that looked like Charlie, and she thought that he went to model.
So you reckon that he actually got a plane, flew to Canada to model for the shot?
Yeah.
And then flew all the way back. Well, that would be like Charlie, because he's got a bit of attitude, hasn't he, for a tortoise?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I love the idea of a shell suit with a shark's fin on the back just to frighten everybody. Brilliant. So let's have a look at your fashion. Please send it in or describe it to us, whatever you prefer. Chris, waiting for your call as well. We'd love you to talk about it. That's the plan. That's what we do. I also want some other calls about, there's a phrase that everybody uses now, and about 2 years ago, it didn't exist at all. But now it's massive, and it's this, to feel like a boss. And you think, well, what does that actually mean? Because I've had one boss who was totally depressed. I've had another boss who was always terrified, looking over his shoulder, expecting to be sacked. I've had another female boss with a feminine itch that she was always scratching all the time. So, like a boss doesn't really mean anything, but we'll use the phrase because have you ever felt that get in kind of feeling? If you're a Newcastle fan, it might have been a while. However, for the rest of you, do tell. Oh, Sophia's been on. I do sports massage and share the room with a tattoo artist. I see them every day. Some amazing designs on the walls, but I also see some proper regrettable ones on clients. The good, the bad, and the ugly, says Sophia. So you've got to tell us about some of the embarrassing ones. So what have you seen that's made you kind of go, ooh, I don't think so. 0191 488 3188. Callum's been on. I've got a tattoo on my right wrist. It's nothing fancy. It's the woman that means the world to me, and that's me mum. Oh, you big slaver. There you go. No, a lot of people do that, and hey, it's not about anything that involves love in any direction. I'm up for. The ex thing, though, can imagine that being a bit embarrassing. One of my mates who lives in Ashington had his partner for life. I love her, Alan. Oh, she's great. She's on my arm. There you go. And it's now like roses and a gravestone and a big skull behind. Because when you take off somebody's name, you've got to transform it into some kind of picture. It's a bed of roses with thorns, which is fairly appropriate, I guess. 0191 488 3188. Now, I don't know whether you heard this. This is embarrassing, like 2.5, 3 years on. The medical experts are saying we should treat COVID like the flu. Not anything worse than that. Shouldn't we always have? 3 years on, countless deaths due to waiting lists, mental health issues, job losses, companies closing down, loss of personal freedom. We've not travelled anywhere in 2.5, 3 years. And now they say, oh, we should have just treated it like the flu. Pathetic, isn't it? The National Health Service staff are revolting over compulsory vaccinations. Where do you lot stand on that? The farmers are to lose all of their subsidies within 3 years. All of the subsidies came from Europe, you see. So they're going to end in 3 years. There was like a 5-year crossover period because of Brexit. And up to 70% of farmers could go bust because the percentage earnings that the subsidies gave them was up to 65%. Could you survive on 35% of what you're earning right now? Something that I've had to learn with, and it's hellish. Tell me about it. Also, we want the tattoos, we want the fashion, we want the piercings, we want all of that. And also, apparently, there's going to be a massive increase in food prices, again, because of the EU subsidies are ending. And we get 70% of our fruit, vegetable, and food from Europe. And now we're going to pay Europe's full rates, which will equate to more than what we used to pay annually just to be in the EU. Interesting. Oh, yes, I got a letter from a lady who was complaining about Tony Blair's knighthood. He says, he sent my son to Iraq without proper shoes. We had to buy his body armor, and he died because of being neglected by his own country, fighting a war we should never have fought. Now, this clown has been knighted. Kick in the face, isn't it, really? Boris partied with 40 people during the lockdown and told everybody to bring a bottle. Rapist will not be deported to Afghanistan. And why? Because it says the Taliban would take a dim view of him being a rapist. Do you not think we should have took a dim view and sent him back anyway? Also, the metaverse. You know, that's like Facebook's new name, the metaverse. Now we're going to start buying virtual stuff, like virtual handbags, virtual houses, and we're going to spend money buying this kind of stuff. Now, how daft are we? Now, that was my first thought. But then my second thought was, when I used to play Subbuteo, I used to give me mate 50 pence just so I could call my centre forward a different name. Like, you're going to want him to be, it was Malcolm MacDonald at the time, but it would have been like, oh, I'll buy Alan Shearer off you for 50p. And 50p was like £1 million back in the day when you had out. Also, Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath is releasing a new scent that he says reminds me of his earlier days in the business. So it's kind of smell of like roadie sweat, I'm guessing. Pathetic Newcastle United. They deserve to go down, says Alec. Their attitude stinks. What do you think? And let's get a caller on. I think we got Andrew. He is there in concert. Let's head in that direction. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Alan. You all right?
I'm good, mate. Good to talk to you. What you got for us all?
Tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got about 7.
Talk us through your body. Give us a top to bottom.
Right. The first one I had was a Taz, which I got at Scarborough, and that wasn't really any good. It was just one of them embarrassing moments.
No, you see, I don't think you can have unless it's drawn badly. Well, was it drawn badly? Is that what you mean? Because I don't think Taz, I actually quite like Taz as a tattoo.
Yes.
Tasmanian devil. You can't go wrong with a little devil on you, can you, really?
That's what I thought. But the first one was good. The second one, I went back for another one a couple of years later, and that was absolutely horrendous.
What was it?
That was another Taz on the other arm.
Right, okay. At least you are matching. That's fair enough.
Yeah, I've since got that one covered up, and now I've got like it's like a skull and crossbones with a Masonic square and compass on.
All right. Are you in the Masons?
Yes.
I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just asking. Right. So that's your craft, and skull and crossbones as well. So you're like a pirate Mason, really.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, he's done a good job. It's got the names of my sons on as well.
All
so
right.
it's every tattoo since the Taz ones have been something to me.
Right.
Which I think tattoos should mean something to you rather than just get anything on.
No, I agree with that, because I know a lot of people just want to get upholstered and they'll get as many as they can everywhere. But if it means something to you, absolutely with you. As long as it's done right, because a bad tattoo, even if it's like, because somebody said to me, we had a clip of somebody who said he had a Bob Marley tattoo. Friend of mine said he had a Bob Marley tattoo. You wouldn't have recognized Bob Marley from the one that me mate had. That was not good at all. So what else you got then? Because the rest means something to you.
Yes. On the forearm, I've got an anchor with the breast cancer ribbon on, with the name of my wife.
Right.
On, because she went through breast cancer a few years ago. So
blame me. Right.
It's just.
Is she all right?
Give her a bit of support. Yeah, she's doing all right now.
Great.
You know, it's still always in the back of her mind, though.
No,
you know, but,
always.
You know, it never goes away. But
absolutely. But she got through it. And we wish her well. That's
right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What else
then? On my back, I've got I'm ex-Navy, so I've got a tattoo of my ship with like the poppies around it in remembrance, for remembrance.
Yeah, no, sure. But I mean, the whole ship or just a bit of ship?
No, just a little one. Wait, it's not a full size or that. But,
well, I'd hope not. Otherwise, you need to go on and die. Play me.
Yeah. You wouldn't get much of it on my back. But that's on my back.
Right.
And then my last one, it's like music notes. It spells out the Royal Navy march, like up, like in the notes. If you know what I mean.
All right. And where are those notes then?
On the.
Blame me. When you hesitated there, just for a moment, I thought.
I'm just trying to.
It's round his. I thought it was round your. As if somebody had to blow the hornpipe on it.
No, it just it's the melody to Hearts of Oak, so
right.
That's
brilliant. But everything means. Would you get another one?
Yes, I've got another one booked.
Oh, and what's that going to be?
Sometime next year.
Right.
I think it's going to be a sailing ship.
Right.
That's what I fancy. I haven't got the exact design yet.
Gotcha.
But that's going to go on the other arm.
Right.
So even things up, if you know what I mean.
Is this something that the missus likes to read in bed, or what?
Well, she's getting one or two now, and I think she's going to go back for another one.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's not something that like I've served in the Navy, but I've never got any tattoos, and they'll come out.
Yeah, because people take it for granted. Oh, he's in the Navy. Because my Uncle Bill used to be in the Royal Navy, and he had not the regiment, but the ship title on his arm as well, and a British flag and bits and pieces dotted around. And he said he got them. That one was in Hong Kong and all this kind. Always exotic with you Navy boys. But no, that's great stuff. Thank you very much for coming on, man. Good to hear from you, Andrew.
You're welcome, Alan. Yeah.
Thank you kindly. Take care, man. Bye-bye. How good is that? Now, you see, I've got to give him a thumbs up because everything was kind of well thought and it all had a meaning and it all had a plan. Now, if you just say, well, I like superheroes and I've got Spider-Man and Wonder Woman up me leg, that's all right too. If that's your passion and you'll always like them. My worry is that you get them done and, here we go. Peggy says, only good-looking people should have tattoos. Most people look awful, especially large people. Well, I would have thought large people would be the best ones to have tattoos because they're going to be bigger. There's more room to be artistic, I would have thought. But anyway, that's what Peggy says. What do you say? Pick up your telephone, give us a call. We are Greatest Hits Radio. It's Alan Robson's Night Owls, of course. And Greatest Hits means we play precisely that. Get to those phones. Kenny.
Oh God, what's that moon down? Oh, look, you see it?
Where's that?
Yeah, look at that. That's what we like to see. Yeah.
Are we open for business?
We are.
Hi, everybody. Alan Robson with you. Kenny, focusing on strange things. We've had all kinds of bizarre entities already because we're in a place we've never been before. A river named after me. It's called Allen, the River Allen. And we're going to visit a place where a lot of people got chewed up and was unpleasantly dealt with, frankly. Yeah. We got some great stories. One of the great, I kept plugging, one of the great amputation stories of all time from this neck of the woods. You will notice we've got snow, that we are snowy tonight. Look at it. So let's head in our direction. We've got a lot to tell you about. Thanks for joining us. Talk about committed while everybody's abed and everybody's saying, well, we're not going to do anything till well early in the new year. In other words, as soon as the snow stops, we're out in it. And it's bitter. It's about -10 tonight is what we're being told. Kenny's ears will be snappable by the end. Freezing tonight. But there is, I'm next to a river, a beautiful river. It just looks gorgeous, mate. I don't know how much you'll be able to pick up in the dark, but it's a glorious looking thing. Where all human life came from. A beautiful river. And Kenny, put your torch light exactly. And Tony, can you see the trees behind the torchlight?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see that? Do you see stuff?
Oh,
moving?
yeah.
How cool is that?
Brilliant.
That is amazing. And a bit earlier, Kenny noticed in some trees, trees lighting up. They didn't have Christmas lights on, but they were lighting up.
There's no electricity on them. There's no cable, nothing. But they're lighting up. I thought it was a shooting star first. But then, for some reason, they're lighting up, which is further down, so hopefully we'll
see them. We couldn't catch them on our cameras on our phones, but we'll have another try for you tonight. Come on, we're fair way to go. This is an area of land as well that you've got to have an idea where we are. We're not far from a place that used to be called Onside. Onside. Because it was on the side of a hill or a mountain, as we would call it. It was on the side of a mountain. So, what place are you talking about?
Well, you always call them mountain people, don't you?
I do. Concert.
Yeah.
I love the concertarians. And they're a special breed of people because you had to be up here. Did you ever come to concert when the steelworks was open?
I did, yeah.
And did you have to pretty much wash your car when you
back it was because of the stuff?
The dust.
Also, there's a story that Phileas Fogg Airport was here, wasn't there? The whole thing with the crisps.
Phileas Fogg crisps made a fortune of it.
Oh,
this neck of the woods.
Come up with a story that there's an airport there and everything. It was really good.
So we got a lot of. We're heading to two places that are particularly haunted. Amazing stories both. I'm trying to keep my hands up my sleeves because I haven't got any gloves because I need to operate bits and bobs, and everybody else is gloved up. That doesn't matter. But on the way, I just thought a few people that I truly love live in concert. Special people, some that I've worked with, some that are just mates. I love the people at concert. They're very, very special. And I'm going to give you a test. Pop singer, 1950s, early 60s, came from concert. Because Onside became Conside, which became concert.
1950s.
Late 50s, early 60s.
Local singer, obviously. Did he sing any local songs?
No, it was a female singer and she had one of the biggest hits of the time. I wanna be Bobby's girl.
Who sang that?
Susan Morning.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
There you go. Eventually you've got to be, ask your nana, you've got to be crusty to remember that, baby. What's the part? Dog bag, Smith. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry, but this whole area is river country. And the reason for that is because nobody came up here. Nobody from the towns, Durham, Alnwick, Newcastle, nobody's going to chase them up here. And they'd come up the mountains for exactly the same way that outlaws back in the wild and woolly West used to get out into the desert where nobody would come. And it was down here.
The rope there, look.
Yeah. People would be swinging and falling in and splashing. But you've got to remember, if you look across the river, you'll see like stone outcrops. There didn't used to be a bridge here. But as you see, the land on the opposite side is so high and so built up, you couldn't get a horse and cart or a horse across here, could you?
No. Not at all.
So what they were looking for, anybody that came up here to hide, was a good crossing place. And that first crossing place is where our first stories begin, really. Constant, of course, we got Karen Harding. She's a great singer.
Right,
Put your head down.
This is the first time we've ever done a ghost hunt in the snow.
Yeah. I would love to think it's going to be the last as well. I'm testing you on concert, people.
Right.
Chairman of Sunderland.
Bob Murray?
Bob Murray.
Yeah.
That's it, lad. Actor that's been in 1,000 films. You recognise his face every time.
Very craggy face.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I've been in something with him, you know. Our friends in the north.
He was in that.
I was in that with him.
Alan Armstrong.
Alan Armstrong. I did a little cameo part in it.
Alan Armstrong.
Had to smoke this metal, one of them mental cigarettes.
Ex-Newcastle footballer who played for Sunderland.
Armstrong?
No. Barry Venison.
Oh, right, yeah.
Newcastle fullback who became manager of Nottingham Forest. Frankie Clark.
Yeah.
So surprising how many cool Graham Danby, you know, the blades.
Yeah.
Graham Danby, worked with him at St James's a few times because he's the best one to sing it.
Oh, he sings it great. Great opera singer. Yeah.
Oh, there's another one. Her name's Bev. I think it's Bev Pritchard. I'd never heard of this woman. Her name's Bev anyway, and she's from Concert, and she won a gold medal in the Canada Olympics in 2020.
Right.
Managing the female football team.
She's from Concert.
What is a person's knowledge and experience actually worth? 20k a year?
Did you hear that?
I heard it. A boom. What was that?
Just when we were chatting, as if to say,
Shut up.
Alan Robson's Night Owls.
The phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
you, with the big one, Alan Robson with you, the Night Owls, of course, and we're talking about many things, but we kicked off with like personal fashion, your bit of rebellion, your style, and anytime you have felt like a bit of a hero, like a boss, they would say now. Ian is on from Mask, and I wonder what he's on about. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Good to talk with you. Yeah, I've got a story. It's not related to fashion, but looking back on it, it was quite amusing, although I certainly didn't laugh about it at the time. But it relates to travel disasters.
Oh, go for it.
At the time, we're going back a few years now. I used to live over on the west coast, just in Cumbria, south of Carlisle.
Right.
And the particular job I had, working on a site over there, one of the key suppliers used to hold a user group meeting every year, and they held it at different locations around Europe. And I was fortunate to go to 2 or 3 of them. And they encouraged you to take your wives, partners, etc., because it was seen as sort of building good relations. So with this in mind, we'd been to a couple before, Italy, Budapest, and this particular year in question, It was a 3-day trip to Norway. We were going to be stopping in Stavanger, and the wives would be bussed off scenic tours while the employees were involved in meetings, and it was social and work, which was great. So we're really looking forward to it. There was one flight on the particular day in question, which was out of Newcastle Airport over direct to Stavanger, I think, or somewhere local. So we thought, this is great. Suitcases were packed. We got all the way to the airport. I looked at the wife and said, pass us the passports. And she said, I thought you had them. So we looked at one another and suddenly realised they were still on the kitchen surface at home. So it was a mad dash all the way back. Fortunately, nobody activating any speed cameras on the way, but we dashed home, picked the passports up and dashed back. But we'd missed last boarding call, so we actually missed the flight, which was really disappointing. So we managed to book ourselves onto another flight sort of an hour or so later. So all was not lost. However, there was no other direct flight. So the second flight was going to be a 2-stage flight going via Oslo instead, which was going to put us late there, but it was going to be still early enough in the evening to be able to go out with all the rest of the entourage.
So is the first day was just like a meet and greet kind of thing?
Yeah, first day is everybody's travelling in from all around Europe, from Greece, Italy, Spain, France, Germany. It was a big company. It was GE, General Electric. They were inviting customers that had their equipment from all over Europe. So the upwards of about 200 people, and they used to block book a really nice hotel. So it was something that was a real pleasure to go on every year. So of course, day one is everybody is mobilising then, and then that evening there's a big meal and a meet and greet, and people are sort of mingling and things like that. So we thought, well, it's still doable this, albeit via Oslo. So we jumped on the next flight and a bit stressed, but it was still game on at that point. So we landed in Oslo Airport, and of course the times that I'd been given before leaving Newcastle, I'd completely forgot about the time zone difference, that Norway is an hour ahead. So we landed at the airport. Obviously, it would be a question of just going straight through, catching the connecting flight, which was about sort of 2.5 hours later, 2 hours later. And of course, the bags would be checked straight through. So we sort of wandered off into the airport. Although there's not a lot here, and you could see that sort of the airport is really close to the sort of the town. So you've got all the shops in there beckoning you to go for a walk. So it's like, hey, we've got 2.5 hours. Let's just, it's a lovely day. Let's just stroll into town, grab a coffee, come back. So time was on our side. So we strolled into the local area. We enjoyed coffee and cake and strolled back into the airport, only in time to sort of look at the clock as you walked into the airport, and of course looked at my watch, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, that's an hour ahead. And I didn't realise that the sort of the times were related to the time zone you were in, and I just thought, well, 2 hour difference. So again, another monumental cock up on my side. We ran to the gates, but they'd already closed the gate, so the connecting flight had left with our luggage on it, because the luggage was checked straight through. So we'd just gone out with literally our passports and a wallet in the back pocket. So we were now stuck in Oslo Airport with no other flights that day. Our luggage had gone, and the next flight was something like about 5 o'clock in the morning for all the sort of the workers that were getting the red eyes up the coast to, because Stavanger is a town where you've got all the oil rigs and the oil industry. Absolutely. So we had to spend the night sleeping in the airport with nothing to hand, and made sure that we definitely got the right flight in the morning. But of course, that meant we missed all the meet and greet. The bags had to be found at the airport at the other end.
What a clown!
So yeah, it was. at the time it was very stressful. Cost me an absolute fortune because all the changes and the extra flights were at my expense. Because it was my mess up. So
well, it's kind of like once you've committed and you've got, it's not like it's just as cheap to keep going as it is to come back, kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and of course, on top of that, the bags had already gone anyway. But it was effectively it's a business trip, so my company had already paid for the the flights and that. Although the people that were hosting the event, GE, they picked the tab up for the hotel and the bookings and all the entertainment at that end. But of course, you're expected to get yourself there. So my company had paid for my flight ticket, whereas all the rearranged flights and or in fact the 2 rearranged flights for the pair of us, so that's 4 extra flights. I think I could have flown to Florida for a fortnight for what it cost me. So definitely a lesson to be learned.
I think so. Mind you, and there's also not much. Oslo is one of those airports where there's actually not much going on.
Which is why we walked into town, because you walk around it and you do a lap of it in 5 minutes. And think, well, there's nothing here. So you see the twinkling lights of cafes and sort of bars in the distance. We'll just stroll out, grab a coffee, come back. What could possibly go wrong?
I give you credit for it. I absolutely give you credit for it, because it's the kind of decision that I've had to make. But on a few occasions, it's got you're in there for 5 hours and you think, that's an awful long time to mooch around an airport. Even if you have something to eat, you still got 4 and a quarter hours to go. And I've been tempted a lot, but I'm a worrier. And I would hang it just in case they call you early or whatever. So, but respect to you for giving it a go, even though it kind of bounced back and bit you on the backside.
I mean, that was 20 years ago. I learned my lesson. I've never left an airport. No, I will sit there as bored as it likes for as long as it takes. I don't do that anymore now.
Because you ended up being super bored right the way through the night. And I bet you didn't get much sleep either.
No, because you're constantly waking up. Is it time yet? Is it time yet?
Absolutely.
Have I adjusted my watch? Has it moved again?
Yeah. Has anybody taken the bag I was trying to sleep on?
Well, that was the one. I just envisaged getting to the final destination, and one of those occasions where my bags had gone to the Caribbean or something. I think, well, things come in threes here. What else could possibly go wrong? But
was it a good trip, though?
Of the week,
you got
it was, yes. I mean, we had, they take you out and entertain you. One of the middle days where you got on a boat and went for one of the Icelandic tours up one of the fjords and things like that. So it was, it was definitely worth going on, but not at my expense.
No, because you were expecting it just to be a beano on everybody else's expense. When it bounces back into your pocket, it's another thing. Hey, but top story. That'll start us off. We want everybody else's travel disasters now, just so we can all remember how good it was when we travelled, because it's been a while for most people, hasn't it? Ian, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Alan. Good to talk to you.
And you. Thanks, man. Bye-bye. There you go. Travel disasters. Have you? What happened? What went wrong? I remember taking a group of listeners. In fact, I got an email about this very thing. Lee Alexander said, "Hi, Alan. I was wondering if you could tell me the year that you had the Magnificent Seven." Now, the thing is, we had it for about 5 years. We called it the Magnificent Seven. I wanted to reward good people who live in our communities. So I asked people to nominate someone where they live for doing something special. And I picked 7 of them and their partners or husband, wife, son, daughter, whoever. They could take a person with them. And we went to Disneyland Paris. This is when it was brand new and sparkly. And as I keep thinking about it, it was 19 years ago, but I'm not 100% sure. I was just one of them and thinking back. Hope you had a great Christmas. I did. Thank you. I can't remember what exact year it was. It has to be 19, if not 20 years ago. And it was fantastic. And it was coming back from that very trip that the French trains went on strike and the aeroplanes went on strike to support the trains. And then the planes decided, oh, no, well, we'll travel anyway, just late. And I had to leave all the listeners with my producer at the airport while at the railway station, because we were Eurostarring back to train. And I had to go to the airport and fly back. So it was a wild experience. I felt super guilty for nearly a minute. Anyway, 0191 488 3188. Let's talk to Anonymous. Oh, I love it when Anonymous or Anonymi come on. That means they've got a story to tell. This is Anonymous from Whitley Bay. Hello, Anon.
Hi, Alan.
Hello. So what's your story about tattoos?
Well, it's not that big a story, really. Right, I'm in my 70s.
Right.
And I got my first tattoo in September.
Hey, well done. How was it? Was it all right?
It didn't hurt.
Didn't hurt? Well, there you go.
I was really scared.
Where was it? On your bod?
On my right arm, the inside of my right arm. Yeah.
Oh, why on the inside? So it was a secret.
Well,
because the only people that'll see it are people who go looking at your armpit.
Well, it's lower down on my arm.
Right.
It's not under my arm, you know.
Okay.
So if I wear a T-shirt, you can see it.
Oh, I get you. Right. I'm with you now.
Well, that was the first one, and it's a lotus flower.
Right, very nice. And why a lotus flower? What's the meaning behind it?
Well, in different religions, Buddhism, for instance, it's a sign of renewal and rebirth.
It is, yeah.
And that's why I got it.
Right. So you're born again. You're going to have your rebellious years once you hit 70.
Oh, yeah.
Good girl. Good lass. I'm up for that.
It's because I had a few bad experiences with people, and people died, and people were horrible.
Right.
Stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I got it.
And you're glad you did? You're happy and it didn't hurt, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah.
It's all
good. I love it. And they say they're addictive, okay?
What are you getting next?
I've got one on the other arm. And because I love Egypt, okay, I've been Egypt and I love it.
Yeah.
It's called the Eye of Horus.
The Eye of Horus. I know the Eye of Horus very well. It's another significant symbol as well in culture too. That's brilliant.
Uh-huh.
Fab. Yeah. So, I mean, why the interest in Egypt, do you think?
Oh, well, from about the 70s, it was on the news that the things from Tutankhamun's tomb were in London on show.
They were, that's right.
And I couldn't go, and I really wanted to go.
Nice.
And then about 10 years ago, I had the chance to go to Egypt.
Oh, brilliant.
And I saw everything, you know, the tombs.
Yeah. The sarcophagus and the head.
Cairo Museum.
Yeah.
You know, and everything, and I just loved it. So I'm totally fascinated by anything Egyptian.
Wow, no, that's cool. But you see, once again, it's something that you've got that you're wearing essentially for the rest of your days that has a meaning. It's not like in a year's time you're going to say, "Oh, I can't be bothered with Egypt anymore." This is like a lifetime fascination you've had with them. So, no, it makes sense. That's good. So, where you're planning, you must be planning another one.
Well, I'm trying not to, because I think if you have too many,
right,
it spoils it. You know, it's like you can't see the wood for the trees, kind of thing.
I know, I understand
it.
They lose their impact if there's too many all in one kind of place. I understand that.
I mean, I have thought about it because I see they're addictive.
Right.
I didn't believe they were because there was only going to be one. Right. And of course, as soon as I got the first one, I wanted another one. But I'm trying to stop there.
Well, yeah, but the reality is, if this is your rebellious stage, some people get them in their late 30s or early 40s or 50s. Yours has just taken a little bit longer for you to get super funky, but you're there now. Congratulations. Yeah. If you get some more, it'll be a good purpose and it'll be a good reason because you think long and hard about them. So that's everything's got significance. It's just great.
I mean, so many people just say, "Oh, I like that. I'm going to have it," and they're like 20.
Yeah.
And by the time they get to 30, like you say, they probably think, "Why did I get that?"
Right.
But obviously, I've got a shorter time to go off it.
Oh.
Because I'm in my 70s, okay?
You're still going to have a good 30 years, lass. Don't write yourself off yet.
who knows?
No, I think that's brilliant. I love the whole idea of renewal and and why not? Why not start again?
Have you got any tattoos, Alan?
Only one, and it's in a difficult situation.
Oh, do tell.
It's kind of high thigh, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I get the area you mean.
It's high thigh, and you don't want to go there. Trust me, you don't want to go there.
So do you still like it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly.
Oh well, that's all that matters.
It's not. Yeah, it's just not too many people have seen it. A few, and probably.
Oh right.
If hand on heart, probably too many over the years. But it's I'm still a fan of it, so it's a good thing. Right. Anything else while you're on then, darling?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great job. Thanks for coming on. Anonymous there. I love the idea. I love the idea of having something that has a meaning attached to it. I know a few people say, oh, can you put my name on my back in tie? And you see all of this writing and you presume it says your name when it could say fried rice or whatever else. You got no idea and no way of checking. But a lot of people do that, and there's a lot of people being caught out with it. But we want to know your stories about your fashion, your style, all that kind of stuff. And Rachel's next. She is in the beautiful city of Durham. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. So what's your story for us?
Well, I've got a tattooey ghost story for you.
Brilliant. Do it.
So I have tattoos myself. I've got a lovely mustache on me right pointer finger, which is right in the place where I lean on it, so it actually matches up with the top of my lip.
That's fabulous. I love the idea of that. So every time you lean, everybody thinks you got a mustache. Fab.
Yeah.
Fab.
It's right where I lean. But I used to work in a it's going down the fishy slope of the indoor market.
All right. Okay.
And I wasn't a tattooist. I was just a receptionist.
Right.
And the tattooist had nipped out for his dinner, so there was just me.
Uh-huh.
And this guy came in the door and he went, "Hello." I was like, "Oh, hiya. Can I help you?" And he went, "No, I'm here to help you. Did you know you're surrounded by a load of ghosts?" And I went, "What?" And apparently where the ink cell is,
right,
and there was like a patch on the floor where it was kind of like an indent.
Okay.
And apparently it was the secret passageway from Jimmy Allen's, like the jail,
yes,
up to the marketplace where the gallows was.
How about that? Because they used to have secret ways of crossing the city so that you didn't have to take the prisoner out and go up and down the streets. So that is true. So how about that? How fascinating.
Yeah. And he said the River Weir flooded the jail.
Yes.
And it drowned a lot of people and all the bodies washed up up into the marketplace, which is where I was working.
Right. So
And
what
I
did he
thought,
suggest he was
thanks
going
for
to?
that.
What was he going to do about it? Did you just say, "Oh, you got lots of ghosts around you, bye"? Or was he going to do something about them then?
No, he just wanted me to know that I was surrounded by ghosts.
Oh, that's canny of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, thanks, mate. Don't
Thanks
help me
for
or
that.
anything. Just,
Yeah. Don't let
and
them.
I'm there on my own.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was always cold in there as well, so I believe him.
Right. You'd never see anything though, feel anything other than cold?
No, unfortunately not.
Wow.
But I did, once you said that, I did keep my eye out for anything weird, but nothing ever happened.
No, I can understand that. Hey, tremendous.
And I didn't tell the customers either. I thought I'd best not.
No, I think you were wise. That's top. Rachel, thank you very much. Great to have you on. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Take it easy. How good is that? Getting some great stuff coming in. Getting some WhatsApp messages as well. Robert, hi, Alan. I came back from Tenerife last Sunday and caught the last couple of hours. Opens me case. The swines have swiped me tabs. Yeah, because whether you realise it or not, when you put your cases in, apparently customs go through the cases while they're behind the scenes and they can open them and take stuff out if they deem it inappropriate. Shout out to my sister and brother-in-law to be, Gemma Robson, what a name, and Mike Amory, who not long got engaged, says Richie. And also, who's this one? If I sent you a Wall's End rugby shirt, Alan, would you wear it? We have an NHS-sponsored kit that you'd look the dog's knackers in. We're top of the league and support various charities. You and our shirt would help massively. Promise you, if you send one in, a Geek Big one, done. I'll wear it on the show whole time. Send me some details to plug what you do. Happy to do that. Not an issue whatsoever. And if you want to, I could sign it for charity and you could raffle it or whatever you want to do with it. Easy peasy pie. 0191 488 3188. We're coming up to your first clue after the news. But before that, on Night Owls, the one thing you guarantee, the real stars come out at night. So Gloria Gaynor is such a star. Just question is, how did she start out?
So when you get up to the early teenage years, did you always think that singing was going to be the thing?
Well, I thought it would be either that or teaching.
Mm.
Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher.
Right.
I still want to be a teacher.
And is that what you were studying for?
No, that's the reason why I didn't become a teacher, because we were poor and I didn't have money for college.
All right.
So singing quickly became my first and only choice.
Yeah. Did you do any other jobs?
Well, I worked in a department store as a sales auditor. I worked in another store as an accountant. I always did office work.
Right.
Yeah.
So the singing was a sideline then? You were doing that in the evenings when you weren't working?
Right. And the other thing that I did was I became a cosmetologist.
Yeah? What's that?
Where you do hair and nails and makeup
I
and
see.
manicures and pedicures and massages and all that stuff.
That's a neat way to get extra cash in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what happened was when I told my mother I wanted to be a singer, she said, well, that's great, but in case you don't make it,
yeah,
try to get some practical education, vocation under your belt, because 10 years later, if you don't make it, nobody wants to hear that you never had a job.
Right.
So I went to school for beauty culture and for secretarial courses with shorthand typing and bookkeeping.
Right.
And I worked at those things for 5 years, and those things sponsored my early career as a singer.
Right. So how do you get into it though? Because at that time, and it was a very exciting time for music when you first began, because the whole disco thing was just kicking off for the first and proper time.
Yeah.
So how do you get into all of that?
Well, I honestly didn't know how to get into it. I had no idea where to go. And so I believe that God just really sort of engineered whereby I was babysitting for a friend. I had she had a neighbor upstairs who would come in the afternoons. And so at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I would hear this person come in, and I thought, if I can hear him walking, this person walking, I didn't know it was a male or female. But if I can hear this person walking, they'll hear me singing. I just wanted somebody to hear me sing. So I would follow those footsteps, and when they stopped, I would stop and sing. Well, a couple of weeks later, I'm in a nightclub. I get called up to sing on stage because the footsteps upstairs belonged to the owner of that club.
Wow.
Who saw me come in, told the band about me, and they subsequently asked me to start singing with them the following night.
That's the fingertips of fate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
She's so conscious. Did you hear that?
I heard it. A boom. What was that?
Just when we were chatting, as if to say, shut up.
Oh, that was odd. Very. It's an odd place, though, isn't it?
Oh, hang on. No, we've got to go down here, haven't we? We're going to the bridge, which happens to be down here. These trees have got some strange kind of electrical anomaly, lighting up the branches as if they had light bulbs in them, which is bizarre. We're out in the snow, and it's bitter cold. You know when you feel it on your cheeks? Oh, both sets. Absolutely.
There is the camera on you. It's pointing right up. Yeah.
It's going up your nose, Kenny. That's something we could live without seeing. Now come and look down here first. This is the river behind all the trees. Like every river, wildlife and plants and trees are attracted to a good water source. But it's a place where a lot of people don't look for spirit, where it's said to be seen here. There's a bridge, you can see cars going over it, but it's under the bridge. A couple of amazing stories. I'll tell you the main one. Back in the 1690s, back in the 1670s, a very famous writer came here, and there was a rickety, nasty wooden bridge. Now it's been replaced by this great big solid stone construction. Hang on, I'm going down because this is where the ghost's supposed to be. Watch your step, everybody. You'll have to come down. Whoa. And here we are. Don't know whether Tony will be able to get down. Careful, Kenny. Don't end up on that. Come across onto this bit. Look at this. Amazing. Look at that weir. Now, what's the story? As I said, if you look at it, it's a substantial, big, heavyweight metal framed bridge now. Back in the 1670s, as I say, a famous writer came here and he spoke of this wooden bridge that was rickety, and it was just wide enough to get one cart across it at a time. And it was wooden and it was creaking and it bent, and when people were in their carts, they used to panic because it was really dangerous. Well, one day, a family were crossing this bridge, and remember, it was wooden at the time, and the wood side gave away. The horses started to panic. The back of the cart swung up against the fence, broke through the fence, and fell from there. You can see the height of it. It's about, 25, 30 feet? It fell, the cart, back end first, into here. Now, if the cart itself was the only thing that fell, they probably would have survived, the husband and wife. But the two horses were attached to the cart, and they fell off the bridge onto the cart, smashing it into smithereens and landing on the man and the woman. Their ghosts are said to glide across the water here. It'd be wonderful if they did it today for us. If you see anything, capture them. There may well be something here. What's that?
Like a red light in the leaf.
What? Not getting any light, Ken. Sorry.
See this turkey showing?
Yeah.
I'll take your turkey here.
Got it.
Like red?
I've been looking into the light of the camera behind me, so I'll probably not make it.
The red light there?
Weird. Kenny always watches out for red lights. There's rats here as well. Yeah. Watch your feet. Right. Just if you see anything, if you catch anything, don't forget to share it with us. This bridge has another significance. let's walk back up and I'll tell you as we're crossing it, because apparently we've got to cross it to get to our first of 2 targets. Ow! Careful, there's some thorns on the right here. Crispy sound of snow under your feet. Wish it was lush grass on a lovely warm evening, but we're not getting it. Ken, your strap's blocking your lamp again, mate. Right, here we go. I know this is not the weather for it, but when it gets nice again, picnic territory down here, isn't it? They've got picnic tables and all kinds. And here we go, crossing the bridge. You can see that the bridge isn't that wide even now. It's wide enough for cars in both directions. But when this was a little rickety bridge, and because this was one of the hidey places of the Border Reivers, what they had a fight over this bridge. Border Reivers used to come over to the little rickety bridge, and if there was nobody about, they started charging tolls. So anybody crossing the bridge would get halfway over, and a couple of Reivers with pistols and swords would stop them and say, "You want to get across the bridge?" Oh my goodness. How sweet is that? That is a beautiful thing. In memory of Glenda Christine Henderson's previously smells. That is a beautiful...
488 3188.
This is Night Owls.
And we have a reply already about that rugby shirt thing, saying, Alan, that's amazing for you to do that. And it's from What's Behind the Smile. Angela does amazing things. And that is the sponsor that we support the most. You're a true Geordie hero, Alan, a true inspiration. And I'm in absolute awe of your offer. Now, don't be daft. Least I can do. You're doing all the hard bit and generating as much money as you can for a great cause. You're the heroes. Don't even think about it being the other end. Right, 4 clues. Let's nail them shut. Each clue is going to give you a song title. You'll end up with 4 different song titles. You've got to tell me whose hits they were. Whose greatest hits, in fact. Whose hits were they? The first clue, and they start really tough, but they get easier as they go, as everybody knows that's taken part in this. The first clue, if a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end. What's that? Okay. If a cricketer, perfect with the Ashes being on, if a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end, what song title is that, do you think? Write it down and get ready. And when you've got all 4 clues, then have a guess. Okay? And we are kicking on to Suzanne next, who I think's in Morpeth. Hello, Suzanne.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
It's a bit of a holiday disaster.
Oh, tell me more. What happened and where were you going?
We went to Bratislava for the Christmas market.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, sounds great.
And we had to fly. We went down to Coventry to my hubby's niece, and she dropped at Birmingham Airport.
Right, uh-huh.
Got to the airport. My husband got straight through security.
Right.
I got nearly stripped out of my underwear because I kept setting the alarms off. I was frisked and everything. Got through there. Got to the desk.
Right.
And the check-in desk, checked the passports, and she said to my hubby, "Excuse me, your name on the passport's different to the booking form." Right. So instead of Thomas Anthony, it was Anthony Thomas. So they weren't going to let him through.
Oh, no.
So they must have rang through anyway, got it sorted, and they came back and they said, "That's absolutely fine. You can go through for boarding."
Right, good.
So we got to the boarding desk, had the 2 hand luggage. Yes. And she said, if you don't mind, can you put your case in the cage to see if it fits as hand luggage?
Right.
To which point, the case didn't fit. And she says, it's too big, it's the wheels. So my husband, who was getting really irate at this point, picked the case out of the
rack.
Cage.
Yeah.
Hit it on the floor about 3 times. He says, I'll get it in the cage. He says, I'm going to get the wheels off.
Right.
So he said, have you got a spanner or a screwdriver? She says, I'm sorry, we haven't got anything to get the wheels off. To which point, there was a queue building up. I looked up and I said to me hubby, you need to calm down because we're not going to get on the flight.
Right, yeah.
And then I looked again. He was practically swinging the case round his head, cutting it off the floor to actually get on the flight. And I think we had to pay a little bit of excess baggage because they were going to have to put it in the hold. And he was screaming, and she said, if you don't calm down, we're not going to be able to let you on the flight.
Did he get the wheels off?
He kept, obviously hitting them off the floor, and he was trying to kick them. He was swinging it in midair, trying to hit it off the metal bit on the side. And I think they just gave up at that point and
I was going to say,
and get on.
Life's too short. They're probably looking, thinking, this is going to be a 20-minute job. Look, let them through. Charge them £2 and let them through.
And yet we got the Bratislava and we're on the way back. Not a problem. We got straight through. There wasn't any questions. But we were warned that Birmingham Airport is horrendous for security.
Oh, is that right? But I mean, for the sake of just, if the case would fit, let's say if you put it in upside down, it would have fit, wouldn't it?
Oh, we never thought of that. We never thought of that. I think we were too stressed by them with the table. And of course, I'm a panicker anyway, so obviously I'm stressing, thinking, God, we're not going to get on this flight. We're going to end up having to go home. But however, we managed to get there and we went to the Christmas markets and it was really nice.
What's because you've obviously been to Christmas markets here in Britain as well, because you're in Morpeth. Morpeth has a little one, but Newcastle has a bigger one. York's got one. If you've been to the British ones, how do they differ in Bratislava? Because I've never been there.
To be fair, I haven't been to. I've sort of been to the Newcastle one. I've sort of had a walk around.
Right.
But the Bratislava, that's practically the only one I've been to. But my daughter has been to Manchester.
All right, that's a big one.
And she said it was really good.
Yeah, it's big there.
But it was more all like food and little trinkets and things. But it was just the atmosphere. All the Christmas trees are personally decorated by the school kids, and
nice.
In the centre it was really nice.
Lovely. And was it cold and snowy there?
It was cold. I don't think it was snowing, but it was cold.
That sounds great. Sounds like a trip. But mind you, I would have been
then we went to Vienna as well. We got the train across to Vienna.
Fantastic. How about that? How long were you away for? That sounds more than like a weekend.
5 days. 5 days.
Brilliant. Hey, that's tremendous. Well, it's a great trip. Vienna's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Oh, it was lovely. My husband said he wished we had gone there first.
Yes.
And sort of had a day trip to Bratislava and back.
Instead of the other way around. I get that. I know, fantastic. I'd just be quite frightened to go anywhere with him, frankly.
Well, I've got another story, Alan, if you've got time.
Always. Go for it.
Well, it was his 60th birthday 3 years ago.
Right.
And I thought, I'll surprise him. We'll get it somewhere away.
Right.
And he messaged and he said, look, there's a lovely caravan here. If you're going to do anything for my 60th, book this caravan in Ambleside.
Right. Oh, yes.
So packs the car up, off we goes, and we pulled up along to the site. And I said to my hubby, please don't tell me this is where we're staying. I thought it's like the bloody Transylvania house, on the I thought, please. So I said, I hope that's not our caravan hanging over the edge of the site.
Oh, what?
So we pulled up to the caravan and I said to my husband, I don't believe it. because obviously I wanted it to be special. It was his 60th birthday.
Right.
All the caravans around were filled with old mattresses, old beds. There was our caravan. The planters outside, what people were using them for poo bags, for the dog poo.
Oh, no. Right.
So we got into the bed and I said to my husband, we went for food for his birthday, which I didn't have phone signal, so I couldn't ring his sister.
Right.
She had put banners and everything up. By the time we got there, the food had stopped being served. She'd taken all the banners down.
Oh, no.
So my husband, for some reason, got eaten alive with midges.
Right. Oh, that's not good.
So we got back to the caravan. The bed was like a trampoline. And it was horrendous. So I'm lying in bed, trying not to laugh, and my hubby said, Suzanne, I can't cope. He says, there's an owl hooting outside. To which point he got up, opened the window, and swore out the caravan window at the owl. Got back into bed, and all I could hear was him slapping his arms.
Oh, with the midges and stuff. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? He says, I'm going to have to get up. I'm going to have to get up. And I cannot remember which movie it is, Alan.
Right.
But he had a pretty green jacket that zipped right up at the front.
Right.
I just happened to open my eyes and the caravan bedroom door opened. And here he stood in his boxer shorts and his pretty green coat zipped right up to his eyes with a hood up. And I said, what you doing? He says, I'm getting back into bed. 5 minutes after he got into bed, he says, I'm bloody sweating. He says, I cannot sleep like this. So then he said, as soon as it's late in the morning, can we leave? He says, I cannot stay here another night.
Oh, blimey, just the wrong choice. Oh,
So
what a
we've got
shame.
just every time we go away, Alan, we've been to Airbnbs.
Right.
And he's had the sat nav and said, we're here. She says we've reached our destination and we're outside an electric substation in the middle of a field. It's absolutely horrendous. Every time we go away, something happens.
Right. At least it's an adventure, though, because they're great
Well, it's
stories.
memories, isn't it? It's nice to make funny memories.
Yeah, it is. Can't argue with that. I'm still picturing him swinging that trolley over his head, trying to slam the wheels off. Tremendous. Tremendous. Hey, thanks a lot, Suzanne. Love to the
No
hubby as well.
problem.
Thanks for coming on.
No bother. Thanks, Alan.
Bye. Oh, how good is that? Robert Green says, here's a daft one for yous. What do you call the bits of batter when you get fish and chips? Scraps, scrunchions, bits. Out scrunchions is what I always call them. A lass in Leeds asked me if I want extras with that. Whoa, what you offering, pet? Yeah. It's it wouldn't be, sadly, what you'd hope. 01914 3188. You got to be careful with anything involving your cod piece. We are one clue down. We got 3 more clues to come. And Irene says the worst fashion item that she has ever worn, she was given an old-fashioned Victorian nightdress that apparently had belonged to her great-grandma. It was one of these button-up but huge floaty things. And my husband, instead of feeling frisky when she wore it, always thought she looked a bit like a ghost. And then Irene says, what do you wear in bed? I always sleep naked. And it's not a problem unless I'm on a really long flight. 01914 488 3188. Get your calls in. Rob's up next, and he is in Ohio, USA. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
Hello. Good to talk to you. Whereabouts in Ohio are you?
I'm in the very southern part, so where the border is between West Virginia and Ohio. I live right on the 124, which is the highway that's right next to the river.
Gotcha.
So on the border.
Nearest big city?
Columbus.
Columbus, right.
Cincinnati,
Cincinnati end. Gotcha. Right, okay. Well, lovely to hear from you. How long have you been out there then, Rob?
Alan, I've been out here 5 years, and I just want to say I cannot tell you how much of a fan I am. Alan, I've not been able to get back home because of COVID and everything else. And hearing your voice and having heard you so long ago, yeah, it's awesome, man.
Ah,
You're the
bless you.
best, Alan.
Thanks,
I
man.
think all your fans love you, man, but you're the
Well, thank you kindly. What you got for us anyway, Ron?
So I had a few ghost stories. I probably fill about 2 hours, but the two that I think you'd love is when I came over here. I was driving past to my friend Chad. He's a history teacher at one of the local high schools.
Right.
He lives out in Eagle Ridge Road, and I passed an old war battle site. It's called Buffington Island, and it's the location on the Ohio River of the biggest battle that was fought during the Civil War.
Wow! Right.
And I said to him, "Why is everybody always out?" He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "On the field right next to the Buffington Memorial. Why, when it's misty, is there always people or horses? There's always something out there." He says, "You did what?" He said, "It's owned by the state." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's owned by the state?" He said, "So anyway, long story short, and I'll tell you how it goes on. So back in 1863, there was a Confederate cavalry leader called John Morgan, and he had 2,400 troops. There was a huge battle going on in Tennessee over here, and he was trying to make all of the Union, which is the northern groups, all of the Union army, distracted around Cincinnati, Columbus, anywhere in the northern area. So he was hitting little parts around all those cities whilst avoiding all of them in the militia, and he was trying to stop them from going to Tennessee. Now, they obviously cottoned onto that, but what they did do was distract 100,000 members of the Union Army to follow him, and they followed him down to Buffington Island, and a battle ensued. So, with no knowledge of the history over here, being a Geordie lad from Wickham, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm telling this story to my friend who's a history guy, and he teaches history at Easton Elementary, which is one of the local high schools.
Right.
And he said, "Have you not heard the story?" I said, "No." And he told me the story. So basically, they had been pinned into a corner, and it was down by Buffington Island, which is in Meigs County, Ohio.
Right.
And at that time, they were trying to get across the river. The river's twice the size of the Tyne, so it's about 0.6 miles across.
Right.
And there was about 2,000 of them trying to cross there, and the Union were closing in on them, and there was an unusual high tide. And at that exact time, they couldn't get across. Right. And the Union had a fort there that was stopping them from going across. On the morning of, and it was in that year, the morning in July when they were trying to cross, they saw gunboats coming up the river. There was two gunboats, the Allegiant Bell and the Moose, and there was nearly some 2,000 Union soldiers came around them. Right. And basically there was a slaughter of about 500 men. And Alan, I swear I knew nothing about this story, nothing, not a single thing.
Right.
And this Confederacy Captain Morgan basically tried to flee. He got captured. There's a great story behind it. But Alan, I drive past that every other week when I see my friend, and I have genuinely seen those people walking that field, but only if it's misty and only if it's foggy. And if you can imagine the scene as the fog and the morning's rising, all of them are being surprised, they didn't know that the army was all around them, and they literally got slaughtered in that one field. And every single time there's a fog, that's where I see those men. Man, it sends chills down my... It's awesome. I mean, it's awesome as equally as it is like, wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, so. But the fact is that you'd seen it before. You presumed, well, there's some people in the fog doing some stuff up there with horses and bits.
Yeah, like farmers.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is incredible. No, it's a fantastic story. What was the other one? Was it because you said you had a local story or something? Local this end rather than local there.
Oh, yeah. So, Alan, get your listeners to Google. There's one more I want to tell you from over here, but
please,
just get them to Google the Mothman, which was it had a film with Richard Gere in 2002. Yeah. So I'm right next to that, Alan. I'm right next to Point Pleasant, so about 20 minutes away. So the harbinger of death and all of that. I'd love your listeners to Google that. But over home, you'll love this story a lot more closer. So go back to 1994. I've just graduated from Wickham. And I've done my A-levels, and I'm bartending with some amazing people. Tom and Chris Foster at the Pack Horse in Burnfield.
Right.
And obviously there's a few lock-ins. It's late at night, and I'm there completely sober. You know how it was, but it's a long time ago, it seems now. Yeah. So one of Chris's friends sort of just on one night went sheet white, and I mean sheet white, and she screamed. And as Chris and I looked, there was this black shadow, like I don't want to be dramatic, but like a highwayman running through that part of the building. And I looked and I said, "Do you see that?" And she literally burst into tears and wanted to leave that very minute.
Right.
And I started to ask like about what it was all about. And the Pack Horse in Burnfield was originally a coaching house,
Sure.
and there was loads of people that stayed there, like, and there was highway robbers. And as a kid, I was like, "All right, okay, that was very odd." And I'll never forget, I just sort of tried to dismiss it as some of us do when this sort of things occur.
Yeah.
And I went back to the cellar, and I swear on, I heard horses neighing. And I was looking after the pub when Chris and Tom weren't even there, and I'm 18-year-old, and I'm like, what the heck was that? So, like, I set the alarm quicker than you can ever imagine, did about 3 steps up the stairs, and I was like, right, okay, that wasn't cool. So I just wanted to tell you, one of the locations near you guys that's fascinating is the Pack Horse in Burnfield. After dark. Yeah, really interesting, Alan. Like, really interesting.
Hey, well, Rob, thank you very much. Hands across the ocean. Love to you, man. Thanks for your kindness as well. Really appreciate it. I'll talk to you again. Fingers crossed. Thanks a lot.
Big love, my friend.
All the best. Bye-bye. Oh, he's nice. Nut Nathan's been on. A lass in Birmingham asked me if I wanted scraps. I said, no, pet. I'll have fresh, thanks. Excellent. 0191 488 3188. And time for a piece of music. And first, a brief chat with the drummer of the Jam. He's a nice bloke called Rick Buckler, in fact, talking about, like, the worst things that's ever happened to his bodily particles. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to the Rick Buckler body? Accidents.
Oh, that's
howling pain.
Loads. I turned my car head over heels when I was driving home with John Weller sitting in the car next to me.
Oy.
And we'd been up postering London with some advertising, some gigs. And we had a bucket of wallpaper paste in the front. And we hit these roadworks underneath, like they used to put old railway sleepers in the middle of the road. And we hit one and we went straight over. Like rolled over a bonnet over boot, and of course luckily we got out of the car and walked away. And John Weller turned around to me and he said, my brains are all coming out. And it was all this wallpaper paste. You know what I mean? That was everywhere. So that wasn't a great. I think I broke my ankle in that one. I mean, I put my foot through glass windows, and I mean, I'm not exactly accident prone, but
it's that rock and roll lifestyle. What are you frightened of? You got any rational or irrational fears?
I think, like most people, I can stand heights, but I don't like them.
Right.
I don't think there is much that I would say that I was actually afraid of, but I find that to be an absolute failing, because I've got myself into some big trouble because I don't seem to have any sense when it comes to things like that. Do you know what I mean? You should be walking away from the edge, not looking over it, if you know what I mean.
The warmth of the wind caressed me as I stood silently in place. I felt your touch in the sun today. As the warmth filled the sky, I closed my eyes for your embrace and my spirit soared high. I saw your eyes in the window pane as I watched the falling rain. It seemed as each raindrop fell, it quietly said your name. I held you close in my heart today. It made me feel complete. You may have died, but you're not gone. You'll always be a part of me. As long as the sun shines, the wind blows, the rain falls, you live on inside of me forever, for that is all of my heart knows. How about that? That is a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. And of course, down here, look at that. Wow. And is this where we're going to see that couple that got crushed by their horse? It's dead. Yeah, absolutely. But look at that. How wild is that? Right, let's get across. So anyway, the Reavers used to fight over this bridge. And one Reaver would arrive to cross it.
The torch is in front of the camera. His torch was in front of it.
Gotcha. One Reaver would arrive and see another Reaver taking tolls, so he'd fight that Reaver, and if he won, he'd then start taking the tolls. It's just fascinating little short story. Now, I've never been to this place before, but we're told it's across here, and hopefully should be signposted. So Let's hope that it is. Wow.
There's the red lighthouse here.
Oh, is that what it's from? That probably is. What's down here then? Because we're past the river.
More wood.
Snow. Snow and forest.
Snow.
Lots of snow in all directions. But as I say, this is the area where the spirits of those two people are sent to walk. So keep your eyes posted on everywhere we're going. As you can tell, the air's thin up here. We've got to be careful because there's wolves, bears, and yaks, as we all know, in and around the concert area. Oh, that's why people wear those raccoon skin caps like Davy Crockett.
And keep warm.
They got damn sight more sense than we are.
Yeah.
But you can see how any opportunity to make a little bit of money, in fact, nobody knows that better than us at the moment, but a river sees an opportunity. There's a river, they've put a bridge on it.
Yeah.
I'll charge you. Absolutely. Otherwise, you've got to face that. And in cold weather, and especially the way the banks are built,
you're going to pay the money, aren't you?
You're going to pay the dosh. You'd have thought. So let's head up the hill. Just got to find out which way to go, because I must admit. Oh, hang on.
The sign did point this way.
There is a sign there. Does that say?
It says hotel.
It's up here somewhere.
It could be down there.
It should be signposted because there was a sign there, wasn't there?
Yeah, pointing this way.
Pointing up. Well, let's keep going.
All right. England border country.
Yeah.
Northumberland.
We're actually in the land of the iron and the oak, is what they call it.
To the right, someone's saying. So up and right.
Up and right. Thank you very much.
There's nothing up there that goes right, man.
We'll sharp find out.
Yeah, the David Manor Hotel does. Like a quarter of the way.
Did we drive down here? We did, didn't we? Or did we?
No.
No.
Further up on the right.
How do they know?
Thank you.
How do they know? That goes to the hotel up on the right.
Need to be roped together for this.
Yeah, me. I want to put a flag on the top of this when I get up here. Conquered this hill in 2022.
It's supposed to be 400 meters into the.
Happy New Bear. Weird noises there.
No, I've got that. Is that river as well?
I don't know what side, but it's not that side. That's like a howling.
It is. We've got a werewolf situation going on.
What the hell is that?
It's something big. Look at this place. Come on, Kelly, let's walk into the mouths and the jaws dripping with this wild animal.
It sounds industrial. What the hell is that?
Sounds like somebody's eating something.
Hello, that. That's dogs.
Yeah.
You think?
I hope. Just heard growling as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks promising. Isn't
What?
it? Is it up there?
That's the Doing Hotel.
It's a butchery. Oh yeah, we did pass it, didn't we?
The British Hotel, didn't we?
It's supposed to be near the river, isn't it? We're moving further away from the river, yeah.
I know. But they said it was further up here to your right, didn't they?
All the way and up.
Yeah, I think it's along there, if you look on the map.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
This is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Call 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And our next caller in is Heather, who is in Dunstan. Hello, Heather.
Hiya, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, Darren. Thanks for asking. What you got for us then, Heather?
Right. I don't know if you know about any murders that happened in the 1920s in Dunstan.
Tell me more.
Right. There was Harry McLean. He was sentenced for 3 years for manslaughter after hitting someone over the head.
Wow.
And the guy died 2 days later. And then there was a boy, 15-year-old boy, hung himself after hitting this young girl on the head.
Right.
And he hung himself from a rafter in the turnip house.
Wow.
And then there was a man found guilty but insane from killing his wife, 33, and his 3 children aged between 5 and 2.
Ah, awful.
And he was put into Broadmoor.
Wow. So Dunstan's got a bit of a catalogue of all kinds going on in the 20s.
It has, yeah. Well, we've got it. We had an asylum, as well in Dunstan.
Right.
And it was run. I've heard you mention Wilkinson's and Garbutt.
Yes.
Well, seemingly Wilkinson used to run it. He was the first proprietor of it, a J.E. Wilkinson.
Right.
His son married an Isabel Gustard Garbutt.
Right.
I don't know if that's any relations to the ones you were talking about the other night.
Don't know. Maybe. Hey, you never. The thing is, the further back you go, the smaller the number of people that were in the patch. So therefore, the chances of people being related is pretty good, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not there, obviously, now. It went away quite a few years ago. But do you not remember me from, oh, God, it must be 25, maybe 30 years ago? I know we're getting old now. Can you remember the thing that Metro was when you were on Metro Radio and they were playing the Love Line thing?
Right.
Where you well, I went on there and I actually was talking to you when you wanted us to interview us and everything.
Right. I found it was a long time ago, but hey.
Oh, God.
You must have been
It didn't
interesting,
last,
otherwise
like-
it wouldn't have happened, right?
Exactly. It didn't last very long, but never mind. I mean, I'm on my second marriage now, so. With 5 kids between, we're 19 grandkids, so.
Wow. Hey, you haven't done so bad, lass.
We haven't.
That's good.
But no, I mean, I used to phone you all the time when I was like a few years ago when you were on Metro Radio, you know.
It was good
But,
that you came back on. So Dunstan's definitely a place we've got to come to because it's one of those that we've kind of that's where Kenny's from, in fact, Dunstan.
Yeah.
So it would make sense for us to do that. We're working on South Shields as well now, and this week we're just planning something that's got a World War II connection. There's probably as much as I can give away at the minute.
All right.
But
well, me husband comes from Whitby.
Right.
And he was coming. I think he said he was coming from a nightclub or something when he was younger.
Mm.
And there must be a bridge there somewhere.
Right.
And he says he was walking across and he's seen these 2 young girls dressed all in white. And he thought, God, they're a bit young to be out at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And he said hello and they nodded at him. And when he turned round, they disappeared.
Whoa, how about that? I know he's from Dracula country as well, because that's where the coffin was supposed to have washed up. But the bridge if it's the bridge that I'm thinking of, which is the one that's just up from where the little river runs into Whitby, and you cross over it to go up the stairs to the churchyard.
Yeah.
If it's that one, it's got a history of 2 young girls that were murdered there. So if he saw that, there's a story that backs up what he saw.
Oh, right, I'll have to tell him that because he didn't know. Because I says, are you sure? He says, yeah. He says, I like seen them and I nodded to them and they like passed us and when I turned round, they were gone. He says there was nowhere for them to go.
No, there's a story from the 1880s in Whitby where two girls were taken. In other words, they disappeared. Nobody knew what had happened to them. But the story was that they were taken by a group of men who made use of them and didn't want to be arrested. And they were the daughters of somebody quite wealthy. So there would have been massive repercussions. So after they'd used them, sadly, they murdered the two of them and threw them into the sea, thinking that the sea would take them out. What the sea did is they did take them out, but it brought them back in to that little river, the little, I don't know whether you've ever been to Whitby, but the river that runs in through the edge of the town. And the bodies were found and the ghosts were said to be, instead of being seen in the water, they're seen crossing the bridge as if their spirits are trying to get home to where they lived, which was not where the church is, but it was just over the other side, past the church, down the hill on the opposite side. So they're supposed to be seen crossing the bridge and walking up the hill. And they're never seen coming in the opposite direction. They're always seen almost like desperately trying to get home after they were murdered and misused. So so you can tell him, though, that there's a story that backs up what he saw, which is cool.
Oh, well, because I never used to believe him, but obviously it might have been that as well.
You never know, love. You never know.
Oh, good. So have you seen any or?
Yes, I used to not believe at the very beginning, because you've been with me a long time, but right at the very beginning, I never believed in ghosts, and I used to slag people off who'd seen them. And then one day I saw something. I saw a few little black shadows moving around, and you always think trick of the eye, it's car headlights, you always rationalize it with something. And then one day I saw something in a room full of other people and we all saw the same thing, and you can't deny it after that. So then I had to go back on the radio and apologize to everybody that I'd slagged off for either being drunk or taking drugs, or you've just woke up, you watched a horror film last night. All of the reasons that I gave for people seeing ghosts. And since then, I've searched for them all over the world, and hand on heart, actual images that I could say, not just a black shadow or a black shape, probably 5 over a lot of years, mate, and it's a lot of years of looking. But I've seen lots of black shapes moving around, loads of them, because they're everywhere.
I know when I watch your ghost hunts, I usually look around and I think, yes, I wouldn't have seen that one, you know.
Right, no, absolutely. And you guys will probably see ones that we never do if you watch the ghostly trails. So
you were doing one day when I think it was either Kenny or is it Tony?
Tony, yes.
Seeing this, you were sitting down and seeing as if it was a shadow walking across the wall.
Yes.
It was in the room. So I seen that, and then I thought, I would have never mentioned that. And then you did mention it later on in the next one, you know.
Yes, because somebody had said, have a look at it, and then we go back and had a look at and there it was, moving across. But this is the thing, and the best thing about it, because I kind of worried, because when you do stuff on the radio, just the radio, your imagination kicks in, and every person listening in their mind's eye sees something totally different.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's never going to be the case if you show it on your big telly, say.
No.
However, the reverse is true. Everybody that watches it catches something slightly different. So it still kind of works, which we're obviously happy about.
I didn't believe in ghosts until I was married to my first husband and were in the house where my mum died. And I think I just had me oldest daughter, 45, 46, and we were in bed. I was asleep, and the next day when I woke up, my husband says to us, "I seen your mum last night." I went, "What do you mean?" Because he's as straight as a die, and he wouldn't say he'd seen it if he hadn't.
Right.
He says she was standing next to me bed. She says she walked round the end of the bed, looked into the cot, and then walked out the room.
Wow.
And I went, you're joking. He went, no, honestly, you see. And I knew then that he wasn't lying, because he wouldn't have lied anything like that.
And there's no point in him saying that if it didn't happen.
If it didn't happen, exactly, yeah. And my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, when she was about, I think she must have been about 4.
All right.
We'd moved house and were living at Berkeley at the time. And I think I'd just had my second child. And it was only a 2-bedroomed house, and we had her in the bed next to us, like in her bed. And she was talking away. And I went, who are you talking to? And she says, that lady. I went, what lady? She says, there was a lady there. And it was about 3 days later, I had the photo album out. I was showing, I think, a neighbour or somebody. And I showed the picture to my friend. And my little girl come up. She went, Mum, that's the lady I was talking to. And I went, oh my God. So for a 4-year-old to say something like that, she'd never even known her.
Right. But she saw the woman that she'd seen in spirit earlier. Right.
Yeah, in the photograph that was in the photo album.
How about that?
But it's strange. It's
It's a great story, though, honestly.
I know. I'm going to let you go then, Alan, because I'm going to bed now.
You do. Enjoy. Thanks for calling, Heather. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
Alan. Bye-bye. There you go. She's off to the land of Nod. 01914883188. Oh, hang on. Lindsay, who's gorgeous, says there's a red cross gets repainted at the top of Bladen Bank, just opposite the entrance to the allotments. Every year this happens, and apparently hundreds of years ago, a man was murdered there, and a member of his family repaints it in his memory. Isn't that a lovely thing to do, though, across the centuries? Because some people get buried or get scattered in a particular place, and no member of their family ever visits, ever. So for that to keep happening every year as a tribute to a family member, I think it's a lovely, lovely thing. 01914883188. Will's with us. He is also in Durham. Hello, Will.
You all right, Alan?
Yes, good, mate. What you got for us all?
Well, as it happens, I've been listening to some of the old ghost hunts, what you did on the radio.
Right, huh?
And that, and some of them are just like vivid things happen. Like the radio show one you did at the Sunderland Air Museum.
Right, yes.
I mean, like when one of them's on the plane, they can hear somebody breathing and heavily, and you can also hear somebody on the radio in the plane.
Right.
And it sounds like American as well. Like as if they're talking on the radio. I mean, it's
bizarre, isn't it? Bizarre.
It just sounds amazing, yeah. And the other one was, I think it was the lead mine.
Oh, yes.
It's still when you were walking towards one of the buildings, you could hear the voices, but they were like booming.
Yeah,
booming voices when you were walking. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like whispering.
Weren't quiet.
You could hear them, and it was just amazing. That.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you see, I mean, out of all the ghost hunting people, I trust you to not fake anything or
no point
like that.
No point.
You know, because I think you're genuine there. Like,
thank you. Well, we try, and it's the kind of the thing that sets us apart. Because on a lot of the telly ones, they tell you at the very beginning, like for entertainment purposes only. In other words, we're going to fake it all.
Some of it's scripted, yeah. Like things like Most Haunted. I mean, the sad thing is though, is that like the places they've go to, they're bound to have picked up something genuine.
Yeah.
But you don't believe it.
If you dress it with a lot of fakery. And you see, I've worked on TV ghosty shows.
Yeah, I've seen some of their scariest places.
So I know what you do before you do a show anywhere, and that is everybody involved gets a file the size of a small telephone directory, and it's full of information about the place. So you can't go there and say, he knows nothing about the building, because it's impossible. Yeah. Because at every production meeting, people are saying, that's where this happened, that's where that happened. The ghost's name's supposed to be. So you can't say, well, we brought this guy, but he knows nothing. It just...
I mean, if you know something about it as well, then you might be dispositioned to actually hear something.
Sure, but you see, to me, the worry is with especially television, because television you're talking big money, right?
Yeah,
big money in telly. So, if you have a show that's about ghosts, you have to have a result every time. Every time. You can't just go there and say, there's absolutely nothing there at all, but I've had a lovely time. I had 2 cups of coffee. I sat in a room for an hour and nothing happened. The reality is, we've been to places where nothing's happened. And nothing's happened. You see, I believe spirits are around us all the time. So if you stir them up, hopefully you'll get a little something. But sometimes you don't. You know yourself.
Well, the thing with your stuff or what you're doing on YouTube and that is, even if nothing happens, you still tell the history and
tell a story of
the
it,
place as well. You see, so it's still worth watching, even if now it happens.
Sure.
You know?
Right. Well, we always hope. We always hope we can. Who knows? We've had a couple of real flat ones. I have to say, and we go home going, surely there should have been something.
I think the Bishop Auckland one, that was a bit of a. But I mean, if you're doing them every week, you're bound to get the odd.
No,
but the most vivid one of the ones you've done, like recently, it was one of the very first ones you did for YouTube and that.
Right.
It was on that leopard trail.
Yeah, absolutely. That
figure. When you told them to stop, and you can see the figure, and then it crosses right in front of you as well.
Yeah.
That figure, like the shadow, and it obviously wasn't one of your shadows because it wasn't at the right angle.
No, it definitely wasn't.
And
also, it was kind of human shaped, and it went across the road, and it was vivid. But hey, you never know what you're going to get. But that was certainly one of my favorites. My other favorite was when we did some witchy woods, and a building that was used by Knights Templars. I don't know whether you can remember. And
no, I do. Yeah.
And we were walking down towards the building, and we saw some fog in a field, and it spread right across the field. And then someone took a photograph of it, because I didn't see this live. I saw the fog. I saw the strange mist crossing the field. However, somebody took a screenshot of it and sent it in. And at the end of the fog was the figure of a man, like a tall man standing in the middle of the field. That blew my mind, because at the time I'm thinking, mysterious mist. Well, you're in a place where there's sea fret. We're in a place where the temperatures are weird, and fog is not exactly unknown in the northeast. But just one patch of fog in the middle of a field, tiny little bit, with a figure on the end of it. That was pretty cool. So
when you talk about like when you see a mist over a lake, that's usually something called evaporation fog.
Sure.
You see,
but sometimes you see stuff moving, and is what you're looking for, really.
Yeah. So it's not the actual mist, is it?
It's what mist can show to you if there's something in it. Absolutely. I know, good stuff.
What does my head in is on some of the other ghost hunters on YouTube. They'll go to like some place, right, and like a door will slam, and they'll run away. Well, you're supposed to be there to experience it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You're like, if you're a fireman, you wouldn't like run away from the fire, would you? Yeah.
Well, I've always made it my way to try. Sometimes if something catches you off guard, you kind of jump. But then my rationale is always walk towards the noise, go towards where something happened. And if you can do that on camera as well, then everybody's doing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because like if all it's doing is opening and closing a door, well, it's even if it is a ghost, it seems to be harmless.
Yeah, worst case scenario,
if all it wants to do is if it just wants the door closed, you know what I mean? Like it's not physically attacking you or anything like that, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. No, I absolutely get it. There was one room in a castle we were at fairly recently, and we kept putting the door back and sticking a...
Oh, that was Featherstone, wasn't it?
Featherstone Castle. And we'd try to put a wedge under the door at the end, and the door kept shutting anyway.
Yeah.
And we didn't run away from it, but we did kind of, every time it happened, it attracts your attention for sure.
But then when you did the knocking thing,
there you
Castle.
Go. Yeah.
Now, if it only happened once, I would say, well, it could just be coincidence, but it happened like twice.
Yeah, twice, yeah.
And in the same way, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing that you go looking for, and it's the stuff that brings the hairs on your arm up, you know.
Yeah.
And we hope that if it does that for us, it's doing that for people back at home watching it as well.
Well, yeah, it does. And I actually live in Giles Gates. I actually did that bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go to Hoffel College.
Right.
And if it was a nice day, I would walk. So I've walked over that bridge loads of times. So I mean, I might go down there when it's dark myself.
Have another look, absolutely. Hey,
see what happens,
well, bless you. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
We'll appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, see ya.
Take
Bye-bye.
it easy. Bye-bye. So there you go. If you want to join the throng, please do. Fridays, we get a tale in two halves on a Friday from about 9 o'clock onwards. So get ready for that. Sometimes we start about 8:30, so always check us out at 8:30 first. But it's always 9 on a Friday, and if you become a supporter, you can do it live with us on a Wednesday night when we go out, because we go live to supporters on for the whole show on a Wednesday, and then on a Friday you get the whole thing at 9 o'clock. Just on Facebook, we go live because that's all we can do, apparently, at the present moment. So we're doing our best to get it out there. Let's talk to another star, though, for we are Greatest Hits Radio Northeast, and we demand a star tells us a spooky story. And in this case, it's Chrissy Hind from The Pretenders.
Have I seen a ghost? Yeah, I'm not sure if I have. I mean, it seems like the kind of thing you remember, but I've forgotten a lot of things, so I may well have.
But you're open to you when you say you're sensitive. How does that show itself?
Well, I was in Woodstock making a record up at a place that Albert Grossman had, Bearsville Studios, and I was staying in the one cottage there, and I couldn't stay in there without every light in the house on. And I'm not really a very nervous person.
Sure.
And no one could. I couldn't even go in that house. I had to move out of that house.
Wow.
In fact, it was a little cottage. And then I later, when I went up to catering, someone said, "Oh, you were down in Turtle Creek," and they all looked at each other. And I thought, okay, there was that. There's been, that was quite a notorious place.
Right.
I've walked into a hotel room, turned around and walked back down to the desk and said, I can't stay there, and found out that someone jumped out of the window a couple weeks earlier. So I'm quite sensitive to that.
No, you do pick stuff up. That's
sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so thanks for mentioning it, because, I try not to think about that stuff too much.
Right, okay. We'll leave it where it is, locked away.
Gone too far.
Gone too far.
Someone's saying.
There's no right turn.
No right turn, it was so. Right.
The public footpath is just after the white building, after the bridge.
Oh, we'll pass that a mile back.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Well, I think we kept on walking up. More past that.
We're 14 minutes from the forge, apparently, now.
Is that walking? Or driving?
And it says we've got to be across the bridge. Yeah.
Right.
Again, we've got to go to the other side of the bridge. But we were on that side of the blasted bridge.
Just after the white building.
Yeah.
On the right.
Hang on, start.
Is that where we're looking down onto the... Yeah.
I'll take mine, can you? Thanks, man. No, the whole place became heavily industrial. And it was weird because in 1847, in all of Concert, there was only 145 people living there. And it's hard to believe because it's really busy now. There's a lot of people living there. But back then, there was very few. And yet, 200 years before that, in the late 1500s up to like the 1790s, heavy industry was massive. Coal mining, gold mining, lead mining, steel production. And the thing that even the Romans came to this area for iron ore to make weapons.
And we'll be on the left just before the white building.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Well, I'll switch this off. What was that? Did you hear that?
A crunchy thing.
Was that you, Tony?
I might have, picked something, maybe. Before the white building.
The gate.
So it's probably in that gate then.
Really? No admittance to unauthorised personnel. There's a little...
Oh, there, that's it. No wonder we missed that. No wonder we missed it. Have you seen how skinny it is, that thing?
And no, bless him. Toby finds his way home. Oh, this is quite spooky.
No wonder we missed this.
This is spooky this time of night, Tony. Hope so.
If the signal goes off, we do apologise.
Let's hope it doesn't.
Where does this lead to?
Allensford, Blast Furnace and Forge.
Yeah.
Are we going back over the bridge again? Oh, look at this. Yeah, light it up, Ken. That's amazing. And there's that coming up again. What an amazing place. Hidden out, you'd have thought you'd have signposted this much better, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't you?
Seen this, Tony?
Maybe they're trying to keep the stick in the front door.
Maybe so.
So you can enjoy it, not spoil it.
But it's the fact that you've got water courses like this that you're able to mine, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But we've got a couple of different stories. We've got... Oh, this is getting a bit soaking wet, mind. Careful. We've got Witchy Woods here too. But we're less than 14 minutes away from this amazing place. And it's all about heavy industry. So, and also, don't forget to share. Please share your socks off somewhere in here in the layers and layers of clothing. There he is. You with yourself a Night Owls badge. If you share, please do. Send it to every human being that you know on the planet and ask them to share it too, please. We've got stories of amputations. We've got an amazing story about a factory worker as well. And it's a ghost story, but it's also a murder mystery that is still ongoing. Blimey, this is heinously soggy underfoot, mine. I thought all the ground was frozen.
Not here.
Not here it isn't. It's muddy. The thing is, when people started working at factories and such, particularly out in the wilds, and a lot of the old buildings are just run down and ruined.
Holly bush for Christmas, look.
Beautiful.
Perfect holly.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
All pick at Christmas would have been looking for holly. There you go, just here. Could have come and got it. Just there, look. Decorate your garden.
Kenny.
In your house. You go through there?
No, I'm just saying, there's a hint of movement up there.
Up there?
Behind that big tree right in the middle. To the right of it.
Right, just there.
Yeah. Just saw something.
It could be anything in here, man, couldn't it?
No, you're far enough out.
Anything.
This is like the northeast Bigfoot up here.
Isn't that mad, though?
Holly and the Ivy.
For Holly and the make a fork in a Christmas, don't they?
Yeah.
We've got to see it.
Well, to be honest, the mistletoe is a sacred plant to all pagans, and that's one of the reasons. Another one there, if you want.
Yeah.
And here, and here, and here, right the way along. But the factories.
The voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls, the phone-in that gets you talking.
And ye have a competition running as well with 2 clues in. What we're going to be doing is giving you a total of 4 clues. Each clue gives you a song title. You'll end up with 4 song titles. Then you tell me whose hits they happen to be. Whose greatest hits are they? The first clue is this. If a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end, what song sums that up? If a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end. Okay. Second clue. A word created in 1189. Okay. The Germans say Himmel. Gilgamesh, who was the very first Messiah before Jesus that nobody talks about because they want to pretend that Jesus was the only Messiah. There were dozens of them. Gilgamesh was the one that raised the dead, went to heaven and came back and did all the things that Jesus did just 100 years before Jesus did them. Gilgamesh called it Shamash. It's a word created in 1189. The Germans say Himmel. Gilgamesh called it Shamash. And nobody used this word till 1189. However, Christians say it was in the Bible when Jesus was freshly dead. However, the Bible wasn't written till 400 years after that. And it wasn't in the Bible till 1150, okay? It was invented in 1189. So 1190, not 1150, 1190. It was a year after it had been created in a very famous book. So a word created in 1189, the Germans say Himmel. I know you'll Google that. Gilgamesh called it Shamash. What is the word we're looking for? It's a song title. We're not just giving you dozy, daft questions that are that easy. You got to do a bit of brain work, a bit of Google, a bit of education to get these correct. The last 2 should absolutely give it to you, okay? Last 2. And you'll get the next one in just less than an hour, and the final clue about 15 to 20 minutes after that. So you're not far away. And don't forget, this hour, we're going to do a bit of a grisly tale for you. We've had a few requests to say something that we do miss, and we'd love you to do one. So we're going to try them out, see if they run, and if they do, we'll run for as long as we do, and we'll hang in there as long as we can. 0191 488 3188. Get your calls. Julia, fantastic song. The Beatles even sang a song about this woman on the Double White album. Yeah, that Julia from Concert Up on the Mountains. Hi, Julia.
Good morning. Good
Hello.
morning, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for having us on.
Not a problem. What you got for us then?
Well, when you were talking about fashion and stuff like that earlier on,
yes,
it took me way back to my childhood.
Right.
And I'm hoping that some people are going to agree with me here, and that I wasn't the only freak on the block. My grandma used to be a massive fan and frequented all the church jumble sales.
Right. I mean, mum was the same.
Yeah, and she used to come, she would trot up to my mum's house, she'd get the bus up with these bagfuls of clothes.
Right.
And I'm not being a snob or anything, but when I go into a charity shop, you can smell that sort of like washing powdery sort of florally smell type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously the jumble sale clothes always had this smell. Now I can't stand it. It makes me feel physically sick.
Right.
So I wouldn't wear these things, my grandma. I mean, she would come in and, try this this beautiful fur cardigan on, and you think, crikey, what on earth is she buying in here?
Yeah.
And I was very, very good at losing these clothes.
Right.
in the back of the wardrobe or in the drawer until I'd outgrown them.
Yeah.
And my mum could never work out how I managed to evade wearing all. Where's when we were going out? Well, I don't know. Must have left it at my friend's house and had every excuse why I couldn't wear these clothes. But when I was a child, I honestly thought, I know this is a bit embarrassing, but I honestly thought you could get diseases off other people's clothes. I know. I mean,
that's charming. I've donated this, but I've left a little bit of smallpox in it for you.
I know, but I was just a kid. I didn't know. I mean, but I was quite a bit of a tomboy when I was a little girl. And,
Right.
And my mum, I always used to. I was made to go to Sunday school.
Right.
I mean, I did like it when I first started going, but you know, the older you get, the less you enjoy it, type of thing.
Yeah.
And can anybody remember going and they had an anniversary once a year, and you used to have to say your piece. You used to get a little piece to learn,
All
like
right.
a little verse.
Right.
And you had to stand up at some point during a ceremony, and you had to say your piece.
Right.
And my mum insisted that I have every year for the anniversary. It's a name now. I don't think they sell clothes anymore, but it was a kids brand called Ladybird.
Oh, I remember Ladybird.
We always had to go to the specific shop, and I had to have a new dress for the anniversary, and it had to be a Ladybird dress.
Right.
While I stood up and said my little piece to people. So that takes me right back.
Yeah.
And then another story about my grandma was when I got married some 31 years ago.
Right.
My grandma had kept this set of sheets for us, you know. Oh, your grandma's got this beautiful set of cotton sheets. She's going to let you have them when you get married. And
right,
all right, okay.
Put them in your bottom drawer, they used to call it.
Yeah,
didn't they?
yeah, exactly. Until I found out that they were laying out sheets.
Oh no! Oh, you what?
Well, I never dared ask whether or not they're being used, but regardless, I wasn't ever going to use those sheets.
No,
There was not a chance. So yes, I was. It did take me right back when you were talking about these things, and these are all the things that came back to me.
Yeah, because they're things that we kind of just blot out. Because when you mentioned jumble sales and stuff, one of my jumble sale memories is I needed a new pair of shoes for school because we used to play football in the playground, and you'd always scuff them and spoil them within like 2 days of you getting a new pair, because you played football every day in the playground, even if it was just with a tennis ball, if you couldn't get a proper ball. But you'd always scuff your shoes, and my mother would check them every night, and she said, I'm never going to buy you new shoes again. From now on, we're getting them all from the jumble sale, and your heart sinks. And I remember the very next pair of shoes that I got, at the time I think I was about a size 6, just as a kid, size 6. And my mother got me size 8 brogues. And when you, first of all, playing football was a nightmare, but even just walking in them, you're kind of doing that flop, you know, and just trying to hold on to them. Your toenails were like talons because you were trying to hold on to these shoes as you were walking down the street.
I used to put sandwich bags in the toes so they fit a bit better.
My mother ended up putting scrunched up newspaper in the toes. It's still embarrassing though, because you're this little kid with huge feet.
Well, I know, but I mean, there was method in the madness. She obviously wanted them to last you a little bit longer than a week, didn't she?
Absolutely. And you had to put dubbin, which was kind of like polish, but not quite. You used to have to put dubbin on them when you got home at night to cover the scuffs. Which we used to have to do that a fair bit. But isn't it strange how if you took a kiddie now to do that, or come in with them, you can't even get them to wear a pair of trainers that hasn't got the name on the side.
I know. I'm quite lucky now. I've got 3 sons. One's away in London working now, but the other 2 are 15 and 11.
Oh.
And thankfully, neither of them, I should say yet maybe, but neither of them are into brands.
Thank heavens for that.
So far, I'm
good.
getting away with it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the 15-year-old will go straight into work from school, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, then let him pick up the tab after that. No,
well, yeah, I mean, you know, some people want the kids to go to university, but I just want them not to go into branded clothing. I'd be quite happy with that.
No, absolutely.
But
Because
yeah,
I mean,
and
once they get into the whole branded thing,
know,
the whole world becomes it. Because then it's, I cannot wear that watch. I can't wear that top. Can't wear those jeans. It becomes a whole top to tail thing, which is a expensive damn thing, really.
Well, like I say, they can do that themselves. I'm
Yeah.
not having any of that. I'm too old for that kind of thing now.
Right. Brilliant. Well, let's hope you
But I
keep
wanted
getting
to
away
say,
with it.
I'm loving the chat tonight about the ghosty hunts and things, because I work with I worked with a fantastic group of girls in a shop up at Newton Aycliffe.
Right.
And we all became very, very good friends.
Uh-huh.
And most of us, one or two were chicken. I won't mention any names, but I do know they're listening.
Right.
But we used to go out on ghost hunts with a local sort of ghost hunting
group
firm.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we did quite a few different locations. The first ones we ever did were the Victoria tunnels under Newcastle.
Yes, fabulous.
And that was really interesting that we actually had it to do this table tipping thing where the table leaves the ground, and we actually viewed that from afar because there was two groups of us.
Right.
And I was in the group that was sort of, we were coming back whilst the other group were doing this experiment with this table. And our group actually witnessed
from a
the
distance.
table being lifted. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, some of the places weren't, we didn't get much. I can't honestly say I've ever seen a ghost.
Right, right.
I've been poked in the back by a ghost.
Right.
But I've never actually seen anything.
Right.
But yeah, some of the places we went, there was Lionmouth. Have you ever been there? Where there's like Roman soldiers supposedly marched down the
Lionmouth
and stuff like that.
I'm not even sure I've heard of Lionmouth. Where's
It's near Rushmore. It's like a cafe. I don't know whether they sell plants and things. But
right.
It's sort of you go way past Rushmore, and there's sort of I think it was an old monks. Like a school, an education place, and it's down that way.
All right, we'll check it out. I know Tony's made a note of it.
Yeah, I know it's they have like an old. There's like a river runs down there, and it used to be like a Roman bath.
Oh,
We spent quite a lot of the night down by the water's edge, and it wasn't until the next day, and we were looking at our photographs, that we realised there was demons' faces in the pictures.
Oh, whoa! How about that?
We could actually make out demons' faces, and it was quite spooky.
Yeah, but you didn't feel it while you were there. That's the thing, is I've noticed we've been in places and people have been, when they see it, they've been going, look at that. They're not mentioning it. They're not mentioning it. And yet we can't see it, but people are managed to see stuff on photographs or camera.
There's one place I haven't been that I would love to go, and it's 30 East Drive.
Right.
Where it's in Pontefract, where is it the Mad Monk or the Black Monk or something?
Yes.
And there was a film made about it.
Remember it?
Quite a few years ago, and but that's an overnighter, and I don't know if I'm chicken or not.
Yeah, because there's no escape. Once the door's closed, you're there till dawn. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would love to do that one, but yeah, I love hearing all your tales about
good
different places you've been and stuff like that. It's brilliant.
Thanks for coming on, Julia. Great hearing from you. Thanks for sharing. Take it easy.
Alan.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
About that. Yeah, the idea, I understand it. If you're a regular ghost hunter, you're not going to be. And it's interesting. Somebody pointed this out. It says whenever we've taken, because obviously every Friday from 9 o'clock, the next 2 hours are hours or yours or hours completely, if you know what I mean, up together. We took some people out, and folk have said, when you went on your ghost hunts on the radio, people were screaming and ringing. Yeah, because I took people that didn't believe. And then when they see something, they freak and they leg it. We take people who are ghost hunters, who are supporters, with us, and they're kind of hardcore. They've been ghost hunting, most of them. They wouldn't run. They would only scream if something quickly surprised or shocked them. And that has happened on a couple of them, but the vast majority haven't been screamies. And I think people quite like the whole screaming idea. So I think we're going to have to widen the people that we take on ghost hunts, and maybe get one or two who are not necessarily believers, or people who I haven't seen. and see how they experience it in perhaps a different way. 01914 488 3188. We've got a bit of a grizzly. If we've time for it, we're aiming after midnight every week to have a grizzly story for you. And this is a one that links in to the films that we show you when the ad breaks are on, if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook. Anyway, let's take our next night owl. It is Susan from Washington, who's with us on line 8. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you most of the point?
Good. I'm really good. And I absolutely laughed my head off, like, from the last caller. It was just, like, so wonderful. But talking about, like, tattoos or whatever, or what you regret.
Yeah.
Well, I regretted in 1987 cutting the hair off.
Why'd you do it then?
Well, because it was the fashion.
Right.
So I can remember going like to the hairdressers, me and my friend Alison, and saying, "Can I have a photograph like Nick Haywood?" So that was our haircut. And the fashion-wise, literally, we used to go to Germany. Like, we spent a lot of time in Germany. And had like lovely fashion. So one day, me and Alison riding on our bikes in Germany, as you do, because like, and gorgeous pink top on with a cowl neck, which was the fashion.
Right.
And everyone's like, you know, we're riding along on our bikes. And I could hear people whistling and, like, people beeping their horns. Right. And I'm going like, Alison, what's happening? Only to look down when I'm riding my bike with a cowl neck top on and my boobs are hanging out. Absolutely horrendous. Yeah.
Oh, dear. That's shocking.
Absolutely unbelievable. So that is the fashion gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
It was just like a fantastic, lovely top.
Yeah, but
just driving along. Well, not driving along, but like
pedaling
along. Everyone's beeping the horns.
And you're thinking, aren't people friendly here?
Yeah. How lovely is Germany? Riding along on your bike and then just to look down and like have my boobs hanging out.
Yeah,
it was just absolutely horrendous. And then even like going to the hairdressers and saying like, right, can I have my hair cut like this?
Yeah.
Which was like Nick Haywood.
Right.
But like even like looking at like the things on like Facebook tonight, like regards to like the tattoos.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love a tattoo, but I'm such a wuss.
Yeah, windy. Right.
Does it hurt? Have you got tattoos?
Yeah, and you think it's going to, but not really. It's as soon as you get over the initial, this is how it's going to feel, unless you get it done somewhere where your skin's very, very thin. Top of the foot apparently is a bit of a nightmare, but if you, as long as you get it done in a fleshy bit, you're fine.
Really?
Yeah.
So so you've got them?
Mm-hmm. I've got one. Yeah.
One.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly covered, but I've got one in a like a personalish place, top of the thigh.
No, I just think like, how much does it hurt?
It doesn't. I didn't think that it did. And I was told that the place where I had mine was going to be one of those places where, hang on a second, this might sting a little bit. It didn't particularly. So, as I say, it's just if you get it done where the skin is close to stuff, like the top of the foot,
like a bit tough, like.
As long as you've got a bit of flesh on your bones, you get used to it after like 5-10 minutes. You're in the zone and you just let them get on with it. Mind you, I wasn't there for very long. I was only there for about an hour and 15 hour and 20 minutes for mine because it's not a huge thing. So it depends what you get. I mean, if you're going to get an eagle on your back or something, that's going to be might take you a bit of
So
time.
that's it. Like, what tattoos do you really want? Like, and it's obviously like significant, isn't it? Like, if you're going to get one, you're going to get something that means something.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. What would you have though if you were going to have one? What would it be, Susan?
Probably a butterfly or a dragonfly on me back.
Right.
Where the spine is, like just so.
In the middle or to one side or what?
No, just like down the spine.
Right.
Just above the bottom, so like you can show it, but you don't want to show it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
so people catch glimpses and you look mysterious.
Oh, God. But how 55-year-old.
They're still checking you out, Susan. Don't have any doubt about it.
I know, I'm thinking like, oh, God, where am I going to have one now? No, I really I couldn't.
That's fair enough. Hey, no worries. Well, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you for coming on, Susan.
Okay.
Good to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye. 0191 488 3188. Now, Maureen, bless her. Maureen, I do feel sympathy for you. Says, Alan, just to say, there's still a scammer out there asking us for details about ourselves as you would like to phone us back to take part on air in your show on a Sunday. These past few days, I've been messaged via private messenger twice. I've blocked Night Owls on there to get rid of him. It's obviously somebody who's read my post on your site about the one you read out last June about me being taken down by a spirit. I didn't leave my address or phone number. You already have the phone number anyway. True. Maybe you could remind listeners again that you do not ever ask us for details about ourselves or that you send us messages in private messenger. I never have. I never will. That's a fact. So if anybody does, ignore them, mark them as a scammer, and have no interaction with them. And Maureen says, many, including me, get confused at how things work now within Night Owls since you went to Greatest Hits. And you seem to have so many things going on online with YouTube, etc. Stuff changing all the time, and COVID leaving us slightly confused, and my age doesn't help. A bit of clarity on how things now work on the programme would maybe help things. Thanks, take care. Fair dues. Okay. So Tony's just giving me a nod. Normally we don't get into it like this, but this is how it is. As you know, different employer at the moment with an employer who eventually wants everything to be networked so that everything comes from somewhere else and is networked to radio stations around the country. That's their long-term ambition. And obviously what I do is local, so it will eventually go. No question about it. It'll probably be this year that I disappear from Greatest Hits Radio. So my view was, let's try and get Night Owls into a different place. And the place that I have it is of course, robsonsworld.com, which is everything about Night Owls, and it will eventually be all the interviews I've ever done. It'll be all of the ghost hunts we've ever done. There's thousands on there, or hundreds on there already, and it will eventually be thousands. So robsonsworld.com, if you've got a computer and you want to go on and have a look at everything since the very beginning, photographs from the very beginning, galleries of all different places we've been across the planet, that's the place to go. There's also a place for all your photos and for you to share your bits and bobs. So robsonsworld.com is my website, and you can go on there and have a look around, and the Emporium's got a sale on at the moment as well, just for 7 days. It's the January sale thing. So I mentioned that because Colin wants a plague doctor ring, which is the one I wear on me pinky. Let me just wave that at the screen. He's after one of them, so he picked a good week. Chris Wood says he loves the website as well. Thank you, Chris Wood. The other thing we do is on Facebook and YouTube, and if you don't know how to get it, ask somebody. On Facebook and YouTube, Hollywood McShane, Tony, the producer, and Kenny, we go out every week doing a ghost hunt somewhere. We've been up to Scotland. We've been down to South Yorkshire so far, and everywhere else has been within the patch. And we do a 2-hour live ghost hunt. If you become a follower, then you get to come with us live when we film it on a Wednesday, and you see the whole thing as it is. If you are a casual watcher, you get the first hour on a Friday from 9 o'clock, and you can join us for the second hour after that if you so desire. So they're the places where we are, and once Greatest Hits ends with me, then we will be aiming to do other things alongside that to kind of keep the flag flying. But they are things that we have to do personally, as opposed to fly under the banner of Greatest Hits Radio. So that's how it is. I hope that's fairly clear, Maureen. And if it isn't, let us know. We'll try and point out how you can stay with us as best you can. Got a lot of plans for weeks, months, and years to come, and we're trying to get bigger and busier and all of that. So, but we'll keep you posted. Anyway, we're 2 clues in. We have 2 more clues to come, and Reese is waiting for us about something he spotted in Towlaw. Reese is in Brandon. Hi, Reese.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, sir. So what was this thing you saw in Towlaw then?
I'm not sure. I've seen them a few times.
Right.
I always just describe them as scribbles.
Scribbles, right.
I call it like the scribble. It sounds daft, I know, but it's the easiest way to describe it is like a scribble person.
Right. Explain what that means, because I'm not quite with you yet.
I normally see it on a night, like say them on a night.
Right.
About 8 foot tall.
Right.
I put a picture on your site. It's the only way. You imagine. It's not like a person. It's like it feels like an old spirit to me.
Right.
And they're about a foot off the floor, and I see them generally quite quickly.
Right.
If you know what I mean, they move quick.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I used to rent a bit of land at Towlaw.
Right.
And I'd go down at sometimes stupid o'clock in the morning to get out of the house when you can't sleep.
Right.
And it's pitch black, but you can see, do you know when your eyes get used to it?
Yeah.
And I've seen all sorts for years. I've seen all sorts. I've spoken to you about it before. But I've seen, I don't know, literally I call them the scribble people, because they're between 7 and 9 foot tall, about a foot off the floor, and they move quick. They don't have any malice feel about them. But they just move about quick. And
where do you see them? Do you see them where there are buildings, or do you see them in fields?
No, it's in fields.
Right.
In fields. Mainly in fields and in nature. And literally, easiest way I can describe it is, do you know, Groot? Off something like that, but it's off the floor and it hasn't got arms and legs. It's like a crooked Z type thing.
Right.
Tall.
Right.
And because
and they're jet black, are they? Or do they have any features?
It's not like a solid form. It's not.
Right. It's fluid.
Yeah, it's like it's darker than dark. You know when you say it's dark,
blacker than the blackness. Absolutely.
Yeah, I see that, and they move quick. They're generally about a foot off the floor, and they're just moving from one part to the other really quick.
Right.
And you normally, do you know when you catch something out of the corner of your eye, and then you turn on and you just see it moving.
Right.
And it's like, I don't get frightened by any of them anymore. I've seen loads. I've seen that one mainly. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in the winter, and you just see it moving. And
I bet the first time you saw it gave you a start, though.
Yeah, it did. I was like, what the?
I bet.
And I was going down to let the chickens out, and I just turned around. I thought, I'll have a cup of tea and come down when I get to the light.
I'm not surprised. Brilliant.
Yes, but then I'd go down, and I've seen them about 3 or 4 times. But down that way, I've seen the spirit of a bloke who used to live there and had the land.
Right.
And I'm not the only one who's seen him.
Right.
The locals have seen him quite a few times.
And how does he look? Is he see-through? Is he solid?
He's just like a shadow of a person.
Right.
But solid, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah.
And my son, when he was about 14, 15, he'd went down to let the birds out, and he was leaned over the fence, looking at him, and he was like, I walked down to say what my son was doing. He's like, Dad, there's a bloke just stood in the field. He just stood looking at us, and I was like, come on, son. I knew what it was. I was like, we head back up.
Right.
And as we moved back up, his spirit came forward through the gate, turned right, and along the back street.
How about that?
And the locals have seen him quite a few times.
Right. Yeah.
And that part of Towlaw where I was at, I've seen quite a few spirits.
Brilliant.
Around that area.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm psychic or anything, but
That's just what you've seen. You've been open to them, and you've caught glimpses.
Yeah. Well, I went to one of the spiritual churches.
Right.
And I've had about 3 or 4 of the spiritualists say, look, you need to actually look into this because you pick up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't told them what I've seen. I actually rather stand off and be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
And they're like, you've seen all sorts. And they're like, you need to you need to actually learn how to do it properly because I do see all sorts.
Right. Have you thought of doing that or not?
I've got a lot on at the moment, but I said to my new fiance that I'm thinking about looking into it next year at some point.
You could turn your life around. You know, if you've got a gift like that, it's surprising how far that can take you if it's as obvious to others. You know, you may be really gifted in that area. Just worth a look.
I see lots. Like where I live now. I asked my neighbours. My neighbours have lived next door since that, and across the street since the houses got built. And I see stuff in my house now. And my nephew who's like 30, he's seen it in the house, and my kids see it and things like that. And I've seen quite a few things in the house, and I pick things up. And but my fiance she sort of blocks it out. When she's around, I don't pick anything up or see anything or collect anything.
Well, she's just keeping in her own kind of comfort zone, and that's all right, you know. People don't have to if they're more comfortable. Not let them be, man. That's just.
No. She believes in it.
Right. She just blocks it out.
Yeah, she can block it out quite well. She totally understands it and everything, and it's not. But she sort of keeps it at a distance.
That's fine.
But I've been laid in bed and had something bite my fingers.
Wow. What?
Yes.
Was that a ghost person or a ghost animal?
I'm not sure. Well, I opened my eye. Do you know when you pull it? Because I felt like a proper bite on my hand, not like a hard bite, but you know, like a mouth and bite on my hand when I was going to sleep.
Yeah.
And just seeing something disappearing off the side of the bed.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this tonight.
Yeah, don't eat me tonight. I'm tired, man.
Yeah. I honestly, I got told if you're having issues, just say, look, leave us be tonight and let us be. And I generally get peace when I do that.
Right. Yeah. Hey, fascinating all the same. Thanks for sharing, Reese. Yeah. Great to hear from you, man. Bless you, man.
Great to hear from you.
Bye-bye. How good is that? Lisa's been on. Now, she's in Washington, and she's going to do something dramatic for charity, I think. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. So what's this you're going to do then? You're raising some money for charity.
I am, yes. Right. So I'm doing a skydive.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. I'm absolutely terrified of heights.
Right.
I get 3 steps up the ladder and I get jelly legs.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's all fun. But on top of that, because my sadistic followers like the idea of something a bit bizarre, so I said I would hold a spider, and I'm arachnophobic.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's really not very well thought through, was it?
So have you done the spider thing yet?
I haven't, no. I said if I get it up for £1,000, I'll do the spider thing, but I'm actually having trouble finding a spider keeper.
Right. Are you not just going to find a spider? Because there's spiders everywhere.
No. Oh my God, no.
The spiders in your house probably waiting, just saying, pick me, pick me.
Right. I think you'll find out and there isn't, because I use stuff. I've got everything. My house is spider-proof. So, no.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But if somebody is willing to let me hold their spider, I mean,
You mean like
obviously I don't
a
want
tarantula spider, a big hairy spider?
Yeah.
Because I actually think they're not quite as scary as the big, like, house spiders and things that people get. But
no, I think they are, because they're massive.
They are. No, absolutely. I don't like spiders either, and I've held a tarantula, and the first thing it did was run up my arm to my neck. And that,
right, well, don't be saying that, because that's going to cause me to use Tenor Lady. So please don't say that.
So if anybody's got a spider, though, if anybody's got a tarantula or whatever, you've got to get this on camera, man, so we can all see it.
Oh, I definitely will.
Great.
I won't back out of it.
No, I know that.
I mean, I did say if I get it over £1,000, I would do it, and I've been raising now for 2 weeks, and I've got £700 nearly.
That's brilliant. You're nearly there.
I'm nearly there.
If
so,
anybody
yeah,
wants to chip some money in for chat, what's the cause that you're doing it for?
Right, I'm doing it for the Alzheimer's Society, because I lost my grandma and I've lost my Auntie Kath about a week before Christmas, which was my grandma's sister.
Right.
Yes, there's like about 4 members of my family gone through Alzheimer's. I think it just affects everybody. It touches everybody in some way, shape or form.
For sure.
And it's such a horrible, debilitating, degrading, awful disease.
Yeah, my
I don't even.
too.
It's horrible. I don't even call them sufferers. I call them victims, because people do die through it. I mean, there's only a life expectancy of about 3 to 11 years. So, yeah, and I do feel it's like an underrated, underfunded charity.
Right.
So every single penny helps. And I'm paying for my own dive. I'm paying for everything myself. So everything that I raise is going to charity.
That's a lovely thing. Good on you, man. Well done.
So
let's see if anybody's got a spider. We'll take one step at a time. And as somebody who has been strapped to a parachute, the weird thing about the height thing is, right? I presume, are you doing a tandem? I presume you're doing a tandem jump, are you?
I'm doing a tandem.
If you do a tandem, it's just the sitting on the edge of the plane that will totally freak you. When you fall, first 15 seconds, oh my goodness. As soon as the parachute opens, happy days. Seriously, happy. It's a lovely, gentle, easy fall to the ground. But the bit before that is a bit hairy. I'm not going to deny it. So, but
well, I'm actually booked for the 10,000 feet. But if I can up it to the 15,000, I thought, why not go all out for it? So I am actually going to do 15,000, provided I can do it from Peterlee.
Well, good luck. Good luck with all of that. If we get anybody with a spider, we'll hook you up, Lisa. Okay, if anybody's got a
that'd be fantastic.
If anybody's got a tarantula or something that will not kill you, ideally, we'll hook you up. But thank you very much for calling. Good luck. Let's know how you get on.
All right, I will do.
All right,
Thanks.
Take care. You're welcome. 0191 488 3188. Time for another one of our stars coming out at night. And it's a band I love. If you haven't got the greatest hits, get it. And if you buy the greatest hits, then you probably end up getting all the albums. It's the Stranglers. Personal favourites, Peaches, Go Buddy Go, and all-time favourite, Nice and Sleazy Does It. Great little bass riff from a man called Jean-Jacques Burnel, who is their bass player, who I'm talking to here about, well, the Stranglers and stuff. Oh, what a star he is.
What's been your highlight and low light in the game? Best bit and worst bit?
Oh, there've been a few. one of the high bits was when, despite the record company not wanting to release it, we forced them to release Golden Brown, and because they'd written us off, they said, oh, everything's over for you guys, you know.
So that was a great told you so moment.
It was one of those, you know, I mean, everyone enjoys those moments, or revenge is a dish best served cold, isn't
Absolutely.
it? You know, everyone, you can savor that. I know it's unchristian, but
what's been your worst bit then? Have you had a nasty bit where you've questioned, oh, shall we go on? Is this the end?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, quite a few times. Fortunately, I've got a good support system with the rest of the band, you know.
Yeah.
One of the worst bits was when Hugh left the band.
Mm.
And I thought, initially, well, fair enough, that's it. And then I got angry. And then, when I get angry, I do something about it.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I'm so glad that you did, because we've had some great stuff from you since. And the songs that you've written over the years deserve to be heard, and they sound as strong as ever. Hate to say that because it'll give Baz a big head, but Baz has spoken of you many times to me and always described you as he's completely down to earth. He's a real bloke. And can I just say, the biggest tribute a Northerner can pay you is you're a real bloke. Lovely talking to you, JJ.
Well, thanks ever so much.
For people. So a lot of people said, we're going to have to start working in a factory. And mills were opening up, especially around Concert. There was 4 or 5 really big mills. And little farm girls... Oh, hang on. There's definitely something moving about up there. Definitely something moving about up there. What? Did you see that?
Something just moved.
Like a black thing just moved left to right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. What the hell was that? Come on, make some noise. Oh. I hope you're catching this at home. If you see anything, grab it. This is the kind of... Tony, did you see anything there? Did you see that?
No.
No. Damn.
I'm not looking.
I know
I
you
wasn't taking much attention.
This is going to be the sniff show, isn't it?
No, I'm coming next year, though. I'm coming up here and getting all the holly.
No, you're not. You're going to leave nature alone. No, you're not. Nature will pay you back.
No, people will pay us back.
It's everywhere here. Kenny, leave nature alone, otherwise it'll come for you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, hey, Tony. Come on. You had to have seen that.
Is that a bird that just fluttered above there?
I have no idea.
Something just fluttered.
Go on, Ken, up you go. Kenny, see a beautiful, beautiful piece of nature. Don't see pound signs.
I see a beautiful piece of nature, but at the same time, people, supply and demand. If people want holly at Christmas, I'm the man. I wouldn't like to fall down there. I mean, you're dead, aren't you? Look at that.
Look at that. That's a
10 feet away. Fall down there, you're dead.
Absolutely.
Look at how high we are. Oh my God! The tree that's fell as well.
Yeah.
Just lying there.
Totally protected. No snow. Not a hint of snow.
If the tree falls in the wood and no one sees it, did it fall?
Or was it pushed? Yeah. Ow. Oh. The first story I want to tell you, though, is a story of, we talked about visiting Concert while the steelworks were doing its thing, and cars and windowsills covered in that red dust that the people at Concert know only too well. Well, there was a guy there called Ferguson, and he worked at the steel yards, and he had a domestic with his girlfriend. Like we understand how this can happen. And you know, when your woman's saying, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to work." "You can't go to work, not in the middle of this." And this fracas kicked off. And Ferguson was late for work. Problem was, this was the third day he'd been late for work because he was having constant battles with his girlfriend. I know it's Holly, Kenny. Just swallow it, walk on. And so the boss came and asked to see Ferguson in his office. So he ended up getting sacked. Now, there's one thing being sacked when you're in a place where there's thousands of jobs. Concert at the time didn't have hardly any jobs at all for anybody. And Ferguson didn't know what to do because he lost his girlfriend on the back of it because she didn't want to be seen, you know, with somebody that couldn't provide and feed her. So off she went. And Ferguson didn't have anything to do. So what he did, where the main gates of Concert Steelworks used to be, directly across the road. Now we're talking 1880s, 1890s. Right. He dug into the back.
Selling physical products is not the best way of making money on Amazon in 2021. Now, yes, that model does.
Bank with a shovel, and he made a little cave for himself in the bank of the hill. Voices.
I can hear voices.
Can you hear them? Hope you can hear them at home. Stuff moving as well. Just up ahead. So anyway, Ferguson was dug his way into this hillside, into this bank, and every day his mates used to come. And when they were getting a bait out, they'd have like a quarter of a sandwich or an apple. And they used to, on the way in or on the way out of their shift, they'd say, "Hey, where's Fergie?" "Oh, he's in the back. Hey, we'll leave some food." And they used to leave a little bit of food outside the crawling space, like a big badger set. And he climbed inside. And every day that he had a chat with anybody from the workforce, he would badmouth the bosses. Come on, Kenny, let's put a spurt on. We need to crack up here now. He used to badmouth the bosses, and the bosses heard the kind of things that he'd been saying. So eventually they said, "We've got to do something about Ferguson." So they hired a bunch of heavies, a bunch of big lads, and they went, I say, a lot of them, cobwebs in all directions. They went to this.
What about next? You make the call. 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, we've been telling you that we were going to do grisly stories, and we are happy to do them, and we have tons, as you can imagine. I've got a one here that I was going to tell you, my story. A ton of sobs. There you go. I'm just showing everybody on the camera. I've got it here. That is the form that I write them in and usually learn them and tell you the stories when we're out and about. And I told this one, and I got one little bit of it wrong on Friday night. Got one little bit wrong about what happened to the man who was the murderer, because I found out that he came to a bad end. And I was going to tell that whole story, but it will take probably about 7 or 8, maybe even 10 minutes. And we've got so many callers on, I feel guilty. So I'm going to rattle through the calls. If towards the end of the show we can find a space, we'll tell you the story. If not, I'm afraid we will hold on to it. And first chance we get, we can. But while you guys are hammering on the door and ringing as much as you are, we must press on with because that's what the show is. Jenny's with us in Ryhope. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, I was just when I heard that lady about the holidays. I've got a couple of stories like happened to Benidorm.
Oh, go on then.
A good few years ago, I was in the WI.
Right.
Sadly, we're closed because numbers stopped.
Oh,
and I was in the entertainment group and we were learning the songs from Annie, get your gun.
Oh, brilliant.
So,
Hang on. 2 seconds. Annie, get your gun. Anything you can do, I can do better.
I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. That's brilliant.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
It's tremendous.
I was just in the background filling in, but we did have some nice singers.
That's good.
Anyway, there was a crowd of us who used to go to Benidorm. There used to be 4 couples, and there was 4 widows who used to look after the women.
Yeah.
And when we got there used to be this shop my late husband and I used to go to, where you could get joke things or toys and that.
Right.
So we got in the shop and I thought, I'll get these toy guns for one of the ladies, because we were dressed up with cowboy shirts and that.
Right.
So anyway, we had a holiday, came back, got to the airport.
Oh.
A lot of them had got the trolleys, and there was 2 of the old ladies couldn't get the trolleys, so Tom and I ended up helping the 2 ladies with their cases.
Right.
So we were lost in the queue, and I put these toy guns in my hand luggage. everybody got boots. Got this queue, and I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I had to go to the other end with these guns.
Right.
And they were put in this huge cardboard box, and I had to go in a separate part of the hall.
I've seen this happen, and I don't understand. Once they realise that they just go click, and they're never going to be able to be made into anything to harm anyone.
No, on a thing, and the one actually for me, I bought them for one of the other ladies.
Sure.
In the show.
Right.
And then there was at the other end. I had to go separate, and by the time I got to Newcastle, when you're sort of like in a mood, I was starting, I thought, nobody else helped the 2 women, just us 2. And then I got delayed with them.
Right.
And then there was another time we were waiting to come back. I don't know whether there was a crowd of us or just me and my friend and our husband and my husband.
Right.
And we got off the bus. My husband, Tom, being Tom, he was letting all the old ladies know, and I was saying, where are they with the cases? So my friend's husband, he ended up there with 2 cases, and they were busy doing it was the year when they were modernising the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw this fella go down. He tripped on like a bit leather off the cases, and we were just standing like 2 stooges, mate. My friend. He asked us, "It's your gym."
Oh, no.
So I had to get him. He had to go and bury something. He poised something. He had to sign a special paper.
Right.
To stay, because they don't want to just, well, if we'd gone to hospital, we would have ended up in Benidorm having to stay another night. And them days we were going to work.
Right.
So he had painkillers, came back, got off at Newcastle. The first stop, we dropped those 2 off at Sunderland Hospital.
Right.
Then we got a phone call, could we take a towel, pyjamas, toiletries, did that. So then the next day, I went to work. And Tom thought, well, he'll go over and see how they work, because they lived at the other side of Sunderland. They kept him in overnight, and anyway, he got to see my friend, and those other friends had gone.
Right.
And they had a patio.
Uh-huh.
And Tom had walked slap bang into the glass door.
Oh, what a shame.
And I used to work at one of the biggest supermarkets on customer service in the queue, and if you'd seen his face, his eyes, so it ended up the pair of them. One had his hand like in a sling with his thumb, and the other one ended up
in his big panda eyes. Oh,
yeah.
what a shame.
So just happy memories, and that lady.
Hang on, happy memories. He's in a sling with 2 black eyes, and you're thinking, happy memories.
Never mind. There's only 5 of us left out of the 12 what years to go, so I'm not doing so bad.
Yeah, you're all right.
But I like to listen to your show, Alan.
Thank you,
Kate. You always play lovely music.
Well, bless you. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers,
Jen.
Right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. That's nice. 01914883188. And what do you want to talk about? I've been sent this as well. First of all, a mugshot. Hi, I'm Jackie from Stockton. Photo taken last Christmas. Looking fine there, Jackie. And this one comes from Scott. I still remember the day you announced that Night Owls was coming to an end on the other station, and I was so very sad for many reasons. I had a feeling that the end may be on sight on this station too. It's going to happen. I can't believe that the local station hasn't snapped up the show. Night Owls feels like a perfect fit. What a missed opportunity. I'll follow the content on Facebook and Robson's World regardless of any stations. Thank you, Scott. It may well come to that. If not, we'll find somewhere else to live and do the best we can. That's what will happen. 0191 488 3188. We are the Night Owls on Greatest Hits. And we have another clue coming up after this. In fact, I'm going to take a quick break. And then we're talking to Caitlin, I think, who's on a very, very special week. We'll find out what that's all about. You're on end of this on the big one. Oh, look at this, mind. Yeah, oh, got some in my face there. Hey, Tony, if you want to talk spooky, look down here.
No one would ever find you here, would they?
No.
Seriously.
If you were buried under a bit of this, nobody ever find you. Careful though, I think I've got a feeling this. It runs out of edge soon, Kenny. So anyway, they had to deal with Ferguson. Ferguson was in the was buried underneath this badger set, and they went in and they just collapsed it. They just put their spades into the ground so that the entire cavern that he was in fell in on top of him, and Ferguson was suffocated to death. They never even bothered to dig his body out. They just left him there. However, the story goes that in that area of concert, if you travel there reasonably late at night, you'll come across the, ouch, watch out for the nettles. There, you come across the spirit of Ferguson, who's on the bank side, just moving along, and sometimes you can see like a mist rising from the ground, and it's said to be Ferguson. And the weird thing is, you know how the steelworks closed down?
Yeah.
Well, what they say is it was cursed since they killed Ferguson, and it was only a matter of time before it was going to be finished altogether. What have you got?
It looks as if we can chop the tree there, doesn't it? Look, that's fairly new, that.
Something's been howking at it.
Definitely.
Look at this place, though.
This is probably the darkest woods we've been in.
I think so. And the weird thing is we're on the edge of it. It's still pitch black, because over the other side, we've just got fields. Let's get up here, Kenny. I'm hoping it is too. It's funny because there's so many factory stories, and an amazing story of a witch who was famous in these parts called Cora Lynn. And it's one of those witch stories that's quite rare, because it's about a witch that had nothing to do with evil, wicked, or any kind of thing.
Goodness.
Absolutely. So, where is this forge? It's supposed to be only 400 meters in. We've got to be, surely we've done 400 meters by now. But they're supposed to be haunted up here by some of the people. You know, because when you work in a forge...
Call Alan Robson's Night Owls now.
0191 488 3188.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Time for your third clue. We promised it would come round about 1 o'clock, and here it is. Have you got anywhere near the first two clues yet? Because all you need to do is find out who the band or the artist is, and then when you get one, it gives you a foothold to work out the others when you're looking at a list of their hits, you see. First clue. If a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end. Okay? If a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end. What is that? Second clue. A word created in 1189. The Germans say Himmel The Gilgamesh, the Messiah before Jesus, called it Shamash. Yeah. These are educational questions. Third clue, a cumulonimbus just before 10. Okay. A cumulonimbus just before 10. Okay. You just got to know what a cumulonimbus is. And then make it just before 10. 3 clues you've got now. 1 more clue to come. And I think the 4th clue will give it to you. We are asking you to be very, very clever. Worst case scenario, when I play my last song, which is usually about 10 to 2, I'll give you a clue that will make it absolutely simple. But if one person gets it right, I don't give any clues. So try and work it out now if you can. 3 clues down. You might have it just by Googling what the Germans say Himmel means. Okay, so 3 clues down, 1 more clue to come. And as I say, you'll get that in about 15 to 20 minutes. So get ready and let us rock on. We have Caitlin, as promised, special week. Hello, Caitlin.
Hiya.
Hello, darling. So what makes this week so special then?
I turned 30 on Thursday.
Hooray!
Which I haven't celebrated my birthday yet because I was working.
Oh, no. So what are you going to do? What day have you decided it's going to be the party then?
It's not a party as such. I've got a couple of friends that are taking us out for a meal.
Oh, that's great. Where are you going?
We're going to the Old Ashdean in Ashington because it's one of my favourite places.
Excellent. Very nice. So you have a ball. That's brilliant. Congratulations.
Yeah.
How do you feel, though, all of a sudden having to write down a number 3 instead of a number 2 when you write your age?
I don't know. It's just one of them things that, like, everyone's made a big fuss and it just felt like a normal day.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Age, we have to all agree, age is just a number. It's how you conduct yourself and how you feel that counts. That's the main thing.
Well,
So,
according to the goddaughter, I'm old now.
yeah, give her time. She'll work out how young she is when she's 30. Trust me.
Well, she turns 10 in September, and like I still can't believe that.
Can you remember 10? Blimey.
Not really.
No, me neither. And I'm probably glad I can't. I do remember having spots when I was that young, and every day you'd wake up and you'd have a new mountain growing somewhere on your face.
I think for me, that was when the Harry Potter craze kicked off.
Ah, right. Were you big
So
into it?
I had everything. I was in my first year of middle school. I had a school bag, pencil case. I had loads of ornaments at home as well.
Right.
Like, I was that nerd.
Right. Oh, there was plenty of you. Blame me. Harry Potter's still massive to this day, so I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And to be honest, I didn't watch the films at the time on purpose because I'm thinking, I like things where people blow stuff up. You know, I'm typical blokey kind of movies is what I'm into.
Yeah.
So when somebody said to me, there's this new film out about a little boy with glasses, and I'm thinking, nah, don't think I'll ever be going there. But I've seen pretty much all of them now over the last year, maybe it's 2 years, and they're well made and there's full of stars. So I mean,
They are really good films.
they're good movies. Can't deny it. They really are. So nothing to be ashamed about with all the Harry Potter things, because some of the things they talk about are really super deep and mysterious and creepy and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on in them. You know, I can understand how little kids go crazy for it, Wayne. I can understand that too. And it gets them reading books, which is not a bad thing too. Did you have the books or did you just stick with the movies?
I started off with the books, and then like my mum and dad were telling the school, oh, she's reading the Harry Potter books on her own when I was like 8, and the school didn't believe them. So they still had me reading bloody picture books.
Yeah, when Harry Potter came out, an awful lot of people suddenly got into reading big style and not just because the pictures. So I remember when I used to go to the library and the teacher would say, pick out a book that challenges you. And I would always go for like the comic book style books that they had in there, you know, the picture books. But then the teacher would come up and say, what are you reading that for? You should be reading this, and chuck something that was usually dreadfully boring in front of you to have a look at and say, read some Shakespeare. Believe me, can't think of anything worse to this
I know
day.
Shakespeare's okay to a certain extent.
Okay.
I went to see Macbeth up in Glasgow when I did my stage management course, and it was a good version of it, except for it goes on for that long. I nearly fell asleep.
I remember going to see Macbeth at Newcastle Theatre Royal. It was a school trip because Macbeth was the book we had to read for our exam at the end of the year. So we saw it on stage, and it went on really long, and a lot of the speeches aren't exactly in English. Do you know what I mean? These and those and arts, and I'm thinking, I'm not really sure about this at all. Managed to do all right in English lit, which is what it featured in, and went on to study literature, but I've never got away with Shakespeare. To this day, still not really a huge fan, I have to be honest. But I can understand why some people like it, but it's just not for me. It's the thing.
Yeah.
Right. Anything
I've
else?
got 2 theatre trips booked as well for my birthday.
Yeah?
The first one's been postponed since the summer. I've got a ticket to see 6 next weekend at the Theatre Royal.
Fantastic. Oh, that would be great.
Which I'm looking forward to because I've got the soundtrack and it is hilarious.
It's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
And then end of the month, I've booked a ticket to see Beauty and the Beast as well.
Oh, come on. That's fantastic. I love all Disney-related blah, and the Beauty and the Beast.
So do I. That's what my friend got me for my birthday. Just loads of Disney random stuff.
That's great. Can't go wrong. Feel like a child for the rest of your life. And the weird thing is, have you seen the film version, not the cartoon, the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast?
I went to see it twice and I cried both times.
Gotcha. Isn't it... Note, and I know a cartoon's a cartoon, and I enjoyed the cartoon, but I thought, how are they going to do this on the big screen? And I thought they did a brilliant job of it, actually. I thought it was really classily done.
It was. The way they've been doing live-action Disney films, I really wish Cinderella had been done like that with the songs and everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only one I think that have a job was The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how they'd get Sebastian and Ursula and all of those kind of... Because they've got great songs in there as well, you see. That's the standout piece, isn't it, really? But, I know, top class. You also mentioned something to do with a ghostly experience. What was that?
Oh, I've had loads over the years, mainly at my uncle's house in Newbiggin that I refuse to go to anymore.
Right.
I hate it.
Why? What's there?
Well, there was one time when me, my dad, and my brother were house sitting because my uncle was doing the London Marathon.
Right.
And they were downstairs on the Xbox. I was upstairs on my own trying to get off to sleep.
Right.
I heard human footsteps come up the stairs and along the passage, but no one had come upstairs.
Right. Well, that's creepy.
And that's not the worst thing that's happened in that house, though. There's been moments where the attic doors blew open and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not good either. There's something about attics that nobody really trusts, I don't think.
Nah.
Is there a story attached to the house, though? I mean, what does your family say about it?
I don't know. I think my dad's mentioned something about a couple and drama and stuff, and they're the spirits that's in the house.
Right. So,
but ever since I was little, I've hated that house. It's something about the upstairs I've never liked.
You got a feeling to it, has it? Right. Cool. Hey, no, that's good stuff. Hey, but happy birthday anyway.
Thank you.
Really enjoy your trip and have a lovely meal. Thank you for calling, Caitlin.
Bye.
Cheers, love. Bye-bye. There is Caitlin, 30. Oh, blimey. And then there's 40, and then there's 50. Then the curve heads in a downward direction. How do you feel about the whole age thing? I must admit, I have totally ignored it, and I continue to try. How's it working out for you? The weird thing to me with the whole age, it is absolutely true. When somebody says to you, oh, you're this now or that now, doesn't even really register. Because I know some people, there's one guy who lived about 4 or 5 doors away from my parents. And this guy, I always thought was my parents' age. Now, my parents, were they still alive today, they'd be probably a good 100. So I presume this guy was the same age as my parents. I have subsequently discovered that he's 10 years younger than I am, but he looks the age of my parents. Some women get to a certain age and then all of a sudden it becomes dark, dowdy, quiet. I'm not going to, have any plumage. And I just think that you should wear what you really like and that you feel comfortable with and something that you enjoy. Don't just wear it, enjoy wearing it, kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons why we did this topic today about the wilder, more drastic, funky fashion kind of things, with piercings and tattoos and whatever you do that sets you apart. So if there's any more of them, we'll have them. 0191 488 3188. Chris is waiting for your call right now. But we have Michelle next. Marbell, their words go together quite well. And she's in Gosforth. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing, Pam?
Very well, darling. Thank you for calling. What can we do for you?
I was just to tell you about my sort of eerie experience with ghostly habnabs a few years back.
Oh, brilliant. What happened?
Well, I used to have these strange experiences. I would say to my friend, oh, it's happening. And I'd look at my hands. Yeah. And my hands, they would no longer be my hands, I'd say. I says, I've got the nails, they're not mine. And in my head, I could see somebody else's face and somebody else's hairstyle. I was no longer me.
What? I mean, you could look in a mirror and see this.
No, just standing on my own. I was nowhere near a mirror. Right. I was sort of, it's not me. I'm not me anymore. And they would look at me and I was shaking and I was as white as a ghost. Right. And we started calling her Gladys whenever it would happen, because it would happen at least every day. And then eventually one day I was getting washed in the bathroom. And as I lifted my face up, I went, ah! And Gladys was staring back at me in the mirror.
Oh, that is free. What did Gladys look like then? I mean, was she young? Was she old?
She was, I would say she was probably in her 60s.
Right.
But she was so old-fashioned, as if she'd come from another era.
Right.
And I was telling my grandparents, and they were trying to get us to describe her, because they thought she might have been one of, like, their grandparents or mums or dads.
Yeah.
And we'd been talking about it, and we couldn't work out who she was. But anyway, a few months after this had all started happening, or even a year or so later, my boyfriend and his mate were in the bedroom one night, and they come out screaming. They said, there was a nun in the bedroom. I said, what are you talking about? He says, there was a nun standing at the end of the bed. I said, shut up, man. I went in. There was nobody there.
Right.
I said, he's a pig in bed. He's a drunk man. I said, I'm telling you now, there was a nun in the bedroom. I said, shut up. We just forgot about it, and they were trying to tell because we had a few friends round for drinks.
Yeah.
We're trying to make everybody believe this nun was in the bedroom.
Right.
And we just ignored them and got on with our night.
Yeah.
But the next morning, he'd gone home. I was lying in bed on my own, and I heard this almighty clatter, and I thought, oh, that's the kids' home. And then I heard this jumping on my bed, and it felt like dogs, like footprints. You know when you hear a dog pounce on your bed?
Yeah.
And then I felt this almighty lick on my face, and I jumped up, and I thought, how they've let a bloody dog in my house? There was nobody there.
Oh, right.
So I jumped out of bed, and I'm looking for my kids, and there's nobody in my house. The door was shut, and I'm thinking, there was definitely a dog in my bedroom. I literally, you know how you can feel the footsteps on your mattress?
Yes.
I felt them, and I felt the hot breath and the tongue on my face. It was horrible.
It'd be worse if it was the nun.
Oh, God. Well, it wasn't some, a long time after that. I was telling my grandma, she says, do you know your great-great-grandma used to be a midwife? Right. She says, and they wore clothes that looked a bit like a nun.
Mm-hmm.
She says, she used to ride a horse to look after all our ladies, and our dogs used to go with her.
Right.
Because I always used to ask her about my babies that I'd lost, because I've lost 3 babies, and I always used to say, I wonder what happens to them, because they were never like born, they were never fully formed. Do they go to heaven? Will my babies be taken care of? She says, I bet that's your grandma trying to tell you, I'm looking after your babies, I've got them safe. And when we said that, I've never seen Gladys since.
How about that?
And
That's
I
beautiful.
believe with all my heart that's because I got that message from my great-grandma, that's why it stopped happening. She was trying to tell me that she's looking after me babies.
That's fabulous. I hope that's absolutely true.
I do. I hope it's true, because the way my hands used to shake, and I could feel this whole thing come over my body. And although I wasn't looking in the mirror, I could feel my whole face had changed, and my hairstyle and everything had changed.
So that's possession, is what that is.
That's what it felt like. And my friends used to say you're mental, and it wasn't until I was actually at her in the bathroom when I looked in the mirror. I went, she says, what's the matter? I says, I can see her in the mirror. And she went, oh, you've just scared me shitless.
Yeah, I was going to say, the next time she went to the loo just before she went home, you're thinking, oh, hang on a second. Not sure about this. Right.
Even the boyfriend I had at the time became my husband, and I tell you what, I blame the council for that.
Why?
We lived in a block of flats.
Right.
When you come in the front door, he lived on the right, and I lived on the left.
All right.
So nobody would have known if he was in my flat or if I was in his.
Gotcha.
And one day they came to investigate and said somebody had said he was living with us.
Right.
And there he is, sat in his dressing gown eating his breakfast.
Right, yeah.
And I said, well, no, he's not living with us, but he does stop here occasionally, and we're allowed. We're a consenting adult.
Sure, of course.
He said, well, you either have to decide, he either lives with you or he doesn't. And that's when he persuaded us to marry him.
Right, well, because the council told you. Said you've got to make a decision.
The council. I mean, I was only married to him for 10 months, but when I went to the solicitor to divorce him, they told us to come back in a couple of months because you actually have to be married for 12 months before you can apply for a divorce.
Is that true? Blimey,
it is, yes.
Divorce has been part of my life in
yes, I know it is.
Frankly, too large a way.
But
I didn't realise that you're forced to keep them on for a year if it doesn't work.
You've got to be married 12 months before you can actually apply for a divorce.
How about that?
Yeah.
We live and learn on a daily basis. Yeah. Hey, fantastic.
I don't know if you remember, I told you I had a major brain operation many years back.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, well, at the time I told him I didn't want any more children because I had one of each and my ex-husband had had the snip.
Right.
And he says, that's fine, I'll just accept your two as my own as a stepdad.
Right.
I don't need to have any more, and that was fine. We got married and he suddenly changed his mind. He wanted a child.
Right.
And we'd been told if I had another baby, it would kill me, kill the baby, or kill both of us.
Right.
But all I can say is I was brain damaged at the time because I said, okay, we can try. But the moment I found out I was pregnant, I suddenly realised I had something to sort of live for.
Right.
The two children I have could be left without a mum. The baby could be left without a mum, or I could be killing a baby. So that's when I decided he was out the door.
Right.
Suddenly, my senses all kicked in.
Right. Oh, blimey.
And that lovely little boy is now 21 and his dad's never bothered his arse with him once.
And he was the one that wanted the child in the first place. Oh, shocking.
It is, but never mind. He's never wanted for love. He's a smashing young man and he works hard. He's an absolute treasure.
There you go. No, it's but isn't it weird the kind of reasons why we do what we do? Because I've made so many dumb decisions in my life, no question about it. And at the time, though, you think, oh, this will be perfect. And
exactly, you do. And you look back years later and think, why did I do that?
What a bunch of Charlies we've been. It's a fact. Hey, but lovely talking to you, Michelle. Thanks again.
And you, Alan. You take care, love.
Cheers, darling. Bye-bye. Hey, talk about diamonds on the show tonight. It has glittered like, I know you said Ratner's window, but you're better than that. 0191 488 3188. Get the calls in. Philip is next. He is in the bay that is decidedly Whitley. Hello, Philip.
Hello, can you hear us?
I can, with me ears.
Spot on. Are you warmed up yet from last night's goose hunt?
Oh, God, blimey. I tell you, that was... The weird thing is, for about 2 or 3 nights, I'd been coming out thinking, late at night and thinking, that's quite warm. This is all right. This is going to be okay. Nothing prepares you for the concert area when you get up there in the madness of the mountains. My goodness.
I can imagine, mate. We've just been to the coast having a night, like a 10 o'clock walk, and it warms out.
Yeah, this is it. I can't understand.
You go out wrapped up. You go out all wrapped up, and you're taking your coats off and then your hats, and you're sweating.
Yeah, I know you get a sweat on when you get back. I know, I've noticed that. Yeah, but you try up the mountains sometime, and then you get a bit of a shock up there. Tell you.
I'll skip on that one.
No worries.
But hi, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. What you got for me tonight, then, Philip?
Basically, I've just got a place I thought it might be worth investigating.
Yeah, where is it?
It's Ushaw in Durham.
Right.
It's like an old monk university or something like that.
Right.
It's called, I think it's Ushaw. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a massive mansion. And basically, I used to go urban exploring back in the day.
Right.
And I used to just love, walking around these sort of abandoned, crazy, old-fashioned places.
Is it abandoned, or are they using it for something?
I think half of it's used, but the other half is abandoned. And I tell you what, it's not like a small building. It's like you can walk around it for hours in the abandoned part. It's got an old church in there. It's got some kind of weird doctor's office with some horrible bath thing, and there's wheelchairs and that. It's a very creepy place. But,
if any night owls know what it is, well, it sounds like just the kind of place we'd like to visit. So we'll give that a look, definitely. Thanks very much for tipping us the wing, Philip. So you go on lots of these strange forays into odd places?
I don't anymore. It was more when I was a bit younger.
Right.
I used to be very bored and used to want to go on adventures. I used to go down bicycle. I've been down the Victoria tunnels before. It was like the legit one, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Do you know the biker culvert and all that?
I do, absolutely.
Yeah, some beautiful things on. Well, I know there's a lot of graffiti, but there's messages on the walls from the army times.
Yeah.
You know, when World Wars and that.
Yeah, it's true.
It's so I used to love just going down and find places like that.
Yeah.
But I think this building might be worth a look, just because when I was it's such a creepy place, man. Just you walk around the corner of it, there's like a mess. It's like you could have a prison, then there's a wheelchair and it's just sitting there. And
it's freaky. That's freaky stuff. Absolutely. Well, let's find out what it is, Philip. I've written it down. It's in Usher, obviously in Durham. A monk's place, a university. It's a big mansion. Half of it's used, half of it's abandoned. We'll track it down.
What's the main thing? It's USHAW, SEMINARY, whatever that is.
Seminary.
It's in Usher Seminary.
Usher Seminary. Right, okay. We'll have a look.
It's fully abandoned, I'll tell you that, because honestly, mate, you might need I was walking around it, I was in the attic and everything like that.
Wow.
And you can fall through the floors and eat bother there,
Right,
so
we'll
definitely abandoned.
We'll be careful and wear springy shoes. Thanks a lot, Philip.
No worries. Just one other thing.
Yeah.
I spoke to you when I was being a kid or something like that.
Right.
It was about, I don't remember. Do you remember the seafront and all that?
Uh-huh.
And there used to be an old skate park called Skate City.
Yes.
And I think there was Duncan's before that in the Dome. That was a skate park. That was mint.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember calling you back when I was 10 years old, telling you about it, saying it was shut down.
Yes.
And it was one of the worst things that ever happened. Shutting down the good indoor skate park in Whitley Bay, because it did crush a lot of souls back then.
No, absolutely. Because it was.
So that's where it took me down to exploring buildings and that. Cause
you'd lost a hobby. And it was a big deal. It was a big deal in its time. I mean, loads. I never understood why they closed it down, because it was never like there's just one person there. You know, it was always, every time I'd been aware of it, it was full, and you could hear the noise of people whizzing about and what have you.
It was a different era, man. Do you know what it is? I remember they used to cook squared sausages. I don't even know what they were, but after the smell, I always reminds us of that place. And honestly, man, it was just, it was jam packed, and it was bandits, young lads kids smoking and that, man. It was crazy back then.
Yeah.
But it was a great day, and all I want to say is just I've rediscovered you. I don't know, probably before lockdown. All my life listened. You're a fucking legend, mate.
Well, bless you. Thanks for coming on. 019. I'm that kind of legend. 0191 488 3188. Can't remember any of the women in my life saying that, but there you go. 0191 488 3188. Apologies for the language. It was meant from the heart and sweet. Anne's been on and says, what's this? Hi, Alan. You know me, but don't tell. Hang on. I have a boyfriend who is 20 years younger than I am. We get on brilliant. We've been friends for 6 years and more lately, but my kids are not happy at all. Just wondered what you think. What do I think? I would be... there's a very rude joke that I nearly told, and everything in my head screamed, Alan, stop! Don't do it. As far as I'm concerned, if you are with somebody who makes you happy, you see, kids, and maybe kids worry about the millions and billions of pounds that you have in the bank, and they want them and they don't want them to go to anybody else. Maybe it's that. If it's that, that's sad and sick. If your kids are at your house every day for about 3 or 4 hours every day, jealousy, maybe, that you're going to give attention to somebody else? Perhaps. In my experience, kids aren't like that. Kids and grandkids are not there in your life that much. Not as much as most grandparents would like. So if you can find somebody that can make your life happier, you squeeze the juice out of every second and don't give a monkey's what anybody says to you. Absolutely. Good luck. Pleased for you. Happy for you. Hope you make him as happy as he makes you. Done deal. And she says, I love Shakespeare, but more people would like it if they translated his stuff into modern day English so people could understand him. Absolutely. But they tend to want to do it the other way, as if it's almost like a class thing. Oh, Shakespeare. No, sorry. Not for me. Anyway. My son-in-law took me to Newcastle, the actual castle, to see a live play in the same room as the players. And we followed the players to different rooms. Fabulous night out. Good. Enjoy. Absolutely. 0191 488 3188. Whatever you want to talk about, do it right here. Fourth clue I'm late for, so I'm going to share it with you now. Clue number 1. Each answer is a song, remember. Clue 1. If a cricketer, after hitting the ball, goes to the other end, what song title sums that up? Second clue. A word invented in 1189. The Germans say Himmel for this word. Gilgamesh, the original Messiah before Jesus, called it Shamash. Shamash. In fact, not Shamash. Shamash. Third clue. A cumulonimbus just before 10. A cumulonimbus just before 10. What song is that? And the fourth clue. The first men on the moon happened then. The first men on the moon happened then. We're talking a date and we're talking a season. Okay? The first men on the moon happened then. You've now got 4 song titles. Whose hits? If you know whose hits, you ring Chris right now on 0191 488 3188. And you're going to hear a little bit of silence right now. because I'm going to tell you, he's got no idea, so I'm going to have to tell him. So bear with me a second. You can read my lips if you're watching on YouTube. It is... Right, okay. Did you read my lips? Naughty. Right, 4 clues. Ring in now if you have any idea at all. And let's see who's going to be victorious tonight. Edwin's with us as well. He's in Gateshead. Hi, Edwin.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing? Chris is a great lad, by the way, on the switchboard.
He's Alright. What can we do for you anyway? Then? Right.
It's about you, you know what I mean? I think you do so much for people. I think really you should... Would it be out if somebody started just giving page to try and get as much money as we can get together, try and get your own radio station,
no,
so you can control your own destiny?
Well, it'd be lovely, but no, just giving pages are used by people who are, it's life and death stuff. Save it for them, man. But it was lovely that you thought about it, but thank you very much anyway.
It would be great that they were just trying to create your own destiny. Yeah? You're all great lads and lasses as well on that show.
Thank you, kindly.
And it means so much to everybody, you know.
Nice of you to say, Edwin. Thank you.
It would be great. It was about ghost stories. My brother used to work in a pub and selling it's not there now. The watermill.
The watermill, right?
It's in the middle of where some houses are. It's not there now.
Right.
But that was haunted.
Right.
He was looking after it because the last that was in charge, I went in to see a boyfriend down London.
Right.
And I said, we'll look after it for a couple of days. So he said, aye. So you come in anyway, he locks the door. So nobody come in, obviously the door was open. Yeah, open a bottle of beer, put it on the counter. He went down in the cellar to put the pumps on ready for the night's takings.
Yeah.
And then when he come back up there, the bottle was on its side. It had obviously spilt all over the place. There was nobody else in.
Wow.
There was nobody else in.
Cool.
And I think it was somebody else had said, I'm not going down the cellar. Cellar's haunted. He says, give the key. I'll go down. He says, give the key. So he went down. He says, when he went down the cellar to put the pumps on his knees, he heard some crying. And when he looked round, there was a lad with his head in his hands. And he was sobbing, and Alan had said something. I didn't know what it was. But anyway, he come back up and he says, he had mentioned to somebody. He says, somebody had hung themselves. And I didn't know how far back it went. But he had split from his girlfriend or something. He had killed himself. And that was what you see. He said you could see that apparition. It was somebody sitting on the stairs with his head in his hands crying.
Oh, blimey.
But whoever it was wouldn't go down the cellar to put the pumps on. So you had to go and do it. So there's been a ghost in this house where I am. There was a woman, the woman that lived here before, we used to have a bed in the sitting room.
Right.
And it's either being that woman or it could have been my mother, because my mother passed away a few years back. But my son said he seen an apparition or something at the end of his bed. And as he went to walk out the room, sort of passed out. He said it felt like cobwebs.
Oh.
It was like a woman in white, and but I must admit, I felt something in here, but it was a nice atmosphere. It wasn't
wasn't anything threatening. Right,
that wasn't nasty,
Right.
So there must be good sides to it as well.
Absolutely.
And the bed shook before when I was working away. All us was in bed, and the bed was shaking. She put all the lights on, so there is something in here, but it's not. As far as I'm concerned, it's never been a threat to me anyway.
Right. I mean, when you said that the bed was shaking, does that mean that when you're there, you can't shake the bed?
No, I wasn't there. He's had somebody when I've never been there.
All right, I believe you.
The bed shook and tried to pry the lights on. I was laughing when something. But I was telling her about that, and I says, well, I felt the presence in here.
Right.
And if ever we had an argument, she said you could smell smoke before it was going to happen. When my dad used to smoke, I think my dad, mom did way back, but not that I can remember later on.
Yeah.
But my dad did, and you could smell smoke before something was going to happen. So something's been around where I don't know who it's been, but
it's not anything that's freaked you out, though, Edwin.
Oh no, it's never freaked out now. My son that walked through the apparition, he just felt like cobwebs on him. But he said that didn't bother him. He wasn't frightened by it. He said it was a woman in white. It was definitely a woman, but she was in white. I said, well, could it be your grandma? Could it be my mother? Could my mother loved him? Could it be him, or it could have been this woman that lived here before us?
And the cobwebs could have been something like lace, maybe, because all the people.
Yeah. I said it felt like cobwebs as you walked through it. But I have felt a presence in here but it's never been like a threat.
Hey, good stuff. Edwin,
I
thanks
wish you
again.
all the best, right? You're a good night.
Bless you. Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. 0191 488 3188. Going to take a quick break, and then we're back talking to Tony, who is, well, halfway up the high ground in High Spen.
Greatest Hits Radio.
No, I'm with you there, Kenny. This is like a country trail, but I'm not getting forward channel. I'm going to put me sat nav on again, see if I can find it, because it's supposed to be an amazing thing to see. I just think it should have been better signposted than this, surely to goodness. Gotta be. Directions. 7 minutes away. Yeah, apparently. I think that sounds very likely. I don't know about you, Tony, but I think we're in exactly the wrong place.
I mean, there was only this path to follow.
It says 1 minute here, so maybe it is up here.
It looked pretty steep. I can see lights.
Where?
In front. It wouldn't be lit though, would it? No.
No, that would be just people's houses, I would imagine. Oh. This is creepy woods.
No, it says we're heading in the right direction.
Right.
Hope we are. I think we may just be on the opposite side of the river from where we were. Well, you know, we're talking about working in a factory. I don't know whether you've ever been into a steelworks with, red hot molten metals being poured and people were, losing hands, losing arms. And if you go back long before health and safety, you can imagine how hairy and heavyweight the whole thing was. Absolutely, scary place. Have we got a few tails? What's that? What did you get? I'm hearing river down there, and is that not the bridge we came across?
Yeah, because there's a slide going up. There's a river.
Apparently it is this way.
It is. Thanks, everybody. There's not, it's we're not talking like we're looking for
You never know who's going to call next.
Now, you may have noticed that we've dropped a few songs, just trying to get as many of you on air as we possibly can, and there's still an absolute flood of people trying to get on. So bear with us, please. We'll get you on if we can. We've got people that rang in at like 9:45, literally, in the queue, still waiting. We got so many people desperate to get on. So please bear with us if you will be so kind. Who came on before talking about boyfriend, 20 years younger and all the rest of it. Thanks, Alan, for your advice. One good friend said the same as you. Going to ignore the others. Love you back. And you just have a blitzingly good time. Life's far too short to worry about other beggars. Right, let's just 4 clues down. Can anybody work it out? I'll give you one final chance to do that in about 10 minutes' time. But let's talk to Tony. He's in High Spen. Hi, Tony.
Good morning.
Morning, mate. What you got for me tonight, then?
Well, after 2 years, COVID finally caught up with us, and I wish I'd run a bit faster.
Right. How's it been?
Oh, terrible. It's like a really bad flu,
Right.
But on the back of it, I've got pneumonia, which was a bit slow.
Oh, that's
doing all the recovery,
No, that's not good.
So I missed it on all the new year carry on with the work and whatnot, and finally got back to work on a Friday night there. But it's happened to the whole family, and we're obviously Christmas Day was a bit of a wash because the two girls couldn't come up. So my wife being my wife did a whole new Christmas Day today. So everybody could be there, so we've had two of the buggers, so it's cost us a fortune.
Yeah, because I bet on Christmas Day, even though it was just yourselves, you'd make an effort to try and make it a bit special anyway. So,
well, we had my mother and my brother for dinner. Normally we have a goose, but the men two turned up there. So we had a few here, but obviously with the girls not being here, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, sure.
We had the bands and everything up to date, but
nice.
My youngest granddaughter. She's only 2.5, but honestly, I don't know where she comes up with some of that stuff. We've been trying to get her to give her dummy up, So one of the things we did with the other ones is Santa swaps them for Christmas presents, So she got all her Christmas presents open on Christmas Day, and then my daughter said to her, "So are you going to give your dummy back to Santa?" Then she says, "Santa can kiss my butt." 2.5 hours bad.
Oh dear.
That open, you getting out, You're honestly 2.5.
How do people do it though? Because I've got there's a member of my family that's having the same bother with a little one, and it's the bairn's about 2.5 now, 2 and 3/4, and it's like a second limb. Gotta have that dodie, they call it. I mean, some of the bands, they hung out to them. I mean, the big one, we did the same thing. It was like Santa texted it. So we put it on the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve, And so if you leave that on there the night, then he'll bring presents for you in the morning. So bribery and corruption usually works, like. Yeah.
But the little one's a bit more wise to it.
Obviously.
You can have that one, but I've got another 10 stashed around the
right.
It's absolutely crack, isn't it? But I've had a cali day the other day with it. But it's been a nasty one, mate. It was just like a really bad flu, and then the pneumonia on the back of it.
That's the nasty part. I mean, what they've said today, the government health ex-medical, whatever his title is, has said, treat COVID like flu. We shouldn't we have always treated it like flu for the past 3 years?
Well, that's what they tell you if you look on the information on the website. Take traditional cold and flu remedies, treat it like flu. So is it not just bloody flu? I know it's nasty, but it's still just flu,
Yeah, and the problem is, like flu, it can lead on to other things.
That's always been the way to it. There's no special about this apart from every bugger seems to be catching it. No, I mean, like see, I've gone 2 years through all the nasty ones that are supposed to be there, and then this mild variant catches us,
And also, I mean, out of all the people that's likely to get it, the guy driving the taxi with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the back,
Oh, aye. It's just you would have expected it. I would have thought I'd have gotten it well before now, but it's this new Omicron thing. Where do they come with these names? Omicron? How?
Yeah, and I mean, in fairness, at least they haven't called it something like the Black Death and the Plague, like they did back in the day. At least they didn't go that way. At least COVID doesn't sound like too bad, although it's taking people's lives, but at least the name isn't terrifying.
The Black Death, that'll keep you in your house, wouldn't it? Christ, I'm going to get to Tesco as the Black Death suit.
The air strangling curse. There's any numbers of ways they could have made that sound really creepy, but Omicron's now. You've got Omicron.
Champion, aye, lovely. Didn't even have it installed on my iPad.
It does sound like I've got the Omicron app this week.
That's it. It's a bugger.
But what they're saying, they're saying that you're only going to need at least maximum 5 days to get over it. How long did it take you? Take you longer?
No,
with a pneumonia, it would have done, I suppose.
10 days. It was rotten,
Yeah.
But the worst thing, Alan, is what I'm like. I'm never in the bloody house when you've got to stay in, and somebody's telling you've got to stay in. No matter how ill you feel, you want to go.
Yeah.
You just normally where the horses are, it's about a 3-minute walk across to the field where they are, and 3 minutes back. It was 20 minutes each way.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's a sign that something's seriously wrong there, man.
It was awful, and you were looking at every footstep, and I thought, this is not good.
Yeah.
But that was the main thing, having to isolate and stay in the house. It was just horrific, just like being a battery hen. Can't stand it.
No,
it was obviously
Nightmare.
Obviously, thinking about when I was in hospital before, it brings all them memories back in, and you're thinking, oh, this is crap. But hopefully, with this year, I'll have a better year.
Oh, you'll be strong now. You'll be able to fight anything off.
Oh, apparently I'll be immune to it all now, apart from nagging. But we're worried about even booking a holiday now because you don't know what's going to happen with the travel,
I know, that's the thing. They're saying that they're easing up on where you can go, and you don't have to have a test immediately when you come back. You can take a lateral flow test within 2 or 3 days. So they're trying to make it a little bit easier. But people just don't have confidence in them because they've changed their mind after 5 minutes, don't they?
Well, that's it, because we're looking at trying to get out to Canada in July, and it's just a big risk to throw that sort of money away. You'll get it back eventually, but
eventually.
It's a lot of money to invest in what you might not get,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that most people are worried the same way. They're talking today about, they're opening up new routes to Bermuda and Barbados, and I'm thinking, good luck with that. Absolutely.
Give it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but I mean, we've wanted to go out to this particular thing in Canada for donkey years,
Right.
It's the Calgary Stampede. It's the biggest rodeo in the world, which obviously is going to fit me down to the tree. But the worst case scenario, I'll get over there and not come back.
Absolutely. The high spend cowboy making it real brilliant.
Aye.
Fantastic.
We'll be over there, and my wife's always said I'm a bit of a redneck. I should be sat on a porch with a banjo. I'd fit in,
Brilliant. Hey, well, Tor, thanks for coming on. I'm glad you're all right now. Thanks, man. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Tony's great. Chris, the trucker, let's go there. Hiya, Chris.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. You said a quick one. I've got time for a quick one. Go for it.
I'm basically on just to talk about tattoos.
All right.
So I put a comment on the Facebook post earlier on about my main tattoo that I've got.
Which is?
It's a Tommy with a couple of poppies underneath him.
Right. Nice.
So it's like a Remembrance Day themed tattoo, basically.
Right. So do you stand at the cenotaph naked so everybody can see it?
No. I don't go that far, but it's basically everyone celebrates remembrance on one day of the year. I celebrate it all year round, basically.
So whereabouts is it?
It's on my right arm, like the upper arm.
That's nice, right?
So it takes up like the whole top of my arm from my shoulder down to my elbow.
Right. That sounds great.
So it's a canny thing. Like, it's worth having a look at if you've got the time.
How long did it take you? I always check that out at the end of the show, so I'll see it the night before I go.
I had 2 sessions, 2 full day sessions. So I was sat in the chair for about 8 hours for each session.
Right.
And that's like my main one, but I've got 3 others as well.
Oh, come on, then give us the guided tour.
My first one I ever got was my scorpion, which I got on my left shoulder.
Right, and why a scorpion?
That was just because I wanted a tattoo. I went into the tattoo shop and had a look in the books, and I saw the scorpion, and I thought, I like that, I'll have that one.
It's moody and slightly intimidating. Let's have one of them.
Aye,
gotcha.
Yeah. And I was in the army at the time, so it was just like, that's a bit menacing and stuff, so I'll have that one.
Right.
My second tattoo I got was made in Newcastle 1983 in like old English style writing.
Right.
And that's at the base of my neck between my shoulder blades.
Right.
Then I've got obviously the soldier one that I've just mentioned.
Yes.
And then I've got one on my wrist, which is 2 crossed bullets.
2 crossed bullets, all right then. Right. That's keeping with the forces as well.
Yeah, that's kind of a tribute to my granddad.
All right.
During the Second World War, my granddad had this little bullet, and he'd taken the bullet out of the end of the round,
right?
Emptied all the gunpowder and all that sort of stuff out of it,
yeah,
and then carved a cross into the filed it all down and made like a little cross out of the bullet part.
All right. Uh-huh.
So he could like pray to his little cross.
That's sweet.
So. And it must have worked because he came back. So
there you go. Absolutely. Hey, well, we're out, mate. Chris, thank you very much, man. Perfect. Working to time. Good lad. Thanks a lot, man. Take it easy. Bye-bye. There's Chris the truck. And what a lovely thing to do. A bit of trench. I used to call that trench art when usually in the First World War they did a lot of it, but they did in the Second World War too, carving the names on things. Right, if a cricketer after hitting the ball goes to the other end, What song is that? A word created in 1189. The Germans say Himmel. Gilgamesh called it Shamash. A cumulonimbus just before 10. And the first men on the moon happened in this season, in this year. You've got 4 songs. Whose hits? Get to those telephones now and be a winner. Win one of our drinks thingies.